Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Long time no see.
Uh, uh,
Yeah, I pulled up the video and Anthony started bleeding. I'm not even joking.
I started profusely bleeding from the nose. Now, granted, it's not like It's it's so surreal. I had the stream on the volume on the stream, and I was like, just started playing music, playing, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" It was crazy. Uh,
yeah,
but
it's
no,
yeah, it's just we're dealing with an entity today. Um, Anthony, you're
I
pretty familiar with this person. Can you give us like a short introduction of your familiarity with Second Story, aka Hillary Lane?
yes, I'm now uncomfortably familiar with her work. So much so my body responds to her with the profuse bleeding of the
Don't do it.
nostrils,
Not
it
again.
seems.
Not
It
again.
appears to have happened once already. It may happen again. It's a good
Yeah.
thing then I am not actively streaming my face because
Yeah.
they are uncomfortable looking streaks of something on my face
Yeah, because
right
you were
now.
like, I was talking to you yesterday, and I was like, "You doing anything on Tuesday? You doing anything tomorrow?" And you're like, "I might be streaming, but I don't know what." And I'm like, "What if you came to my channel instead?" So
I'm like,
I guess,
that sounds fair. I figured I already have a video that just uploaded today. I
yeah,
already have a second thing coming up at the same day. It's too
I,
much at once.
I didn't. I am so sorry. I did not realize that it would actually cost you blood.
Yeah, I didn't know either. It just kind of happened. I mean, granted, I've been having nosebleeds all weekend, so it's
Mm.
probably having a slight cold
It's
that could
funny.
have done it.
It's funny you're
But
thinking that this is all. Let's blame Hillary.
no, it's just her fault.
Yeah,
She has
exact.
drawn first blood to this night.
Thank you for the super chat, Nick Wolf. Dread her run from her. Hillary arrives all the same.
Are we making her Thanos? Is she now Thanos to us? This is concerning. Although she thought Thanos did nothing wrong, so I guess that means
Oh
something.
my god. So okay.
No, like
So I mean
legitimately.
that's a good it's an interesting summary of her as a person, but if you had to
Mm.
describe her in one sentence, what would it be?
I would say with Hillary, she is someone who thinks she is the smartest person in the room
Mhm.
and is annoyed by your presence, but actually what she ultimately is a very incurious person
Mhm.
who kind of concluded what she thinks about the world
Mhm.
and never felt the need to think a second time. She thinks she's right based on her, like, homeschooling, and as a result,
Or she
she's
is
kind of just
homeschooled.
assumed she knows everything. Oh, yeah, of course she's homeschooled.
That explains so much.
But
Um
Krim, don't forget, she's had a traditional European, education.
Oh yeah,
Very
she's
traditional.
German. Right, right,
Yes,
right.
she traveled to reunite with her German roots, previously. She's very proud of this, which is, concerning, a little
I
concerning
mean,
to
you listen.
listen.
I know some Germans and they're great people.
I know many Germans who are fantastic people, but, like, I mean, anytime I hear a German person talk about reuniting with their country's history, to get
Eh,
to the roots of it, there's
mm,
usually a Hyperborean connection there somewhere.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I you said it, not me.
Mm. But
Um,
that being said, though, she is uh, basically a very, very, I wanna say fundamental in the sense that she is obsessed with the roots of this, a fundamental Catholic who is very anchored in traditional Catholic thinking. She
yep.
feels like school should go back to the way they taught people back in the 1300s. Uh, Thomas Aquinas is one of her, like,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
models of
I'm
morality,
yeah.
who I know I mispronounced previously as Aquinas. It's Aquinas. I know that
Yeah.
now. Thank you, comments, for reminding me that I can't say names.
So, for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure most of you do because most of you here are also subscribed to Anthony. If you're not, you should. Link in the
Thank
description.
you.
Um, So Anthony has done 3 videos on this person so far, and
Technically 2. Oh no, three, three. No,
It
you're
was
right. I forgot
three
about the
because
monster company one. The
I've
monster one.
drawn three thumbnails for you
That's
that
right. The
I
monster one.
distinctly remember. And
That's true.
the joke
Maybe
is
more
that
like 2.5. I think is a better
the
way of
joke is
putting
that
it.
the cup gets bigger and bigger every time.
I
Um,
expect a swimming pool when I finally come back to her on
yeah.
my channel.
Have you played Mario Wonder?
Yes.
You know how like Bowser combines with the Koopa Clown car and the castle?
Oh my God. Yes.
That's my
Please.
vision
Please.
for the next Hillary video that
Yes.
you do.
Yes. I was actually going to do another Hillary one actually fairly recently. I was
Uh-huh.
planning on doing her like women, her female character one because I have a sponsorship with a company I know she'd hate, and I was thinking, ooh, I can combine the two, but alas, it was is not to be. Um,
Oh,
so
I
I
hope
won't
it
do
was
that.
a sex toy company again.
It absolutely was a sex toy company.
Okay.
I was very strongly I was like thinking about it, but like no, actually this let's do something else with that sponsorship.
All right. I'm going to read the last two super chats. And for the most part, we're going to do super chats in chunks just because you know how me and Anthony can be. We're yapaholics, especially when we're with each other.
It's very bad.
Yeah, it's
We're
bad.
terrible influence on the other person.
So we're going to read them during natural breaks.
Mm.
Our last one was Hillary. You are what you read. Makes Aunt read the book that makes your nose bleed. Amazing.
Yes, I am nothing more than blood and nose.
Oh,
I
hey,
mean
hey,
blood and nose, nothing
hey,
else.
hey! We already got a YouTuber that's doing that. We already have Markiplier.
Oh God, that's right.
A certain Miss Hillary would love a certain book called The Silver Elite. FYI, please just call me Goofy.
Okay, Goofy.
Thank you, Goofy. I guess for the super
Thanks,
chat.
Goofy.
Okay.
Thanks,
One more
Alpaca Entertainment.
one more thing before we get going is that she calls herself a writer.
Hmm.
Um, before we get into that,
Oh God.
we're gonna go to
Yeah,
her
no.
website. I'm gonna switch to more full screen view.
Hmm.
Um, she has home notes. She has essays and articles, which it's just her YouTube videos, um, but in written form. It's just scripts of her YouTube videos. Like
Hmm.
you are what you read. That's literally her last video.
Yeah,
Um,
the most recent one.
she has a podcast. Wow. Oh, it's just her YouTube channel.
Yeah,
She's
no,
calling it a
that's
podcast. Amazing. That's not what a
truly,
podcast is, honey.
truly brave. Truly
She
brave.
she has uh book recommendations. I've read through them and a lot of them are like, wow, House of Leaves, daring today, aren't we?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, a lot of her recommendations are good books, like
Yeah,
House of
but
Leaves, Umberto
you should.
Echo's on there.
I mean, like, yeah, but or
Uh,
did she come up with? I don't know. Maybe she did curate them herself. But like, these are books that like everybody kind of agrees are pretty good books. The
yeah,
book club that she started advertising is not out yet.
yeah,
Um,
no, which has been a while. It's funny too. She loves Umberto Eco so much, but also like is like got her big shout out from Asmongold. You know, considering Umberto Eco very famously wrote a very famous essay, Fascism,
mhm.
and Asmongold is basically pro-fascism. I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting that kind of dichotomy. But I mean, the name of the rose is more about like the power of satire and how it can like completely destroy ideas. I don't know. I think it's just some irony there that she like recommends that when her channel is like when she's
Yeah.
so afraid of being made fun of. I think that she doesn't respond to any feedback.
Now here's the thing. She calls herself a writer, but these appear to be her
Mm.
only published works. 3 poems that she
There's
has
also the
produced over the course of a
mm,
year.
there is one other thing. There's her novel, The Blue Prince,
Oh
but
boy.
I can't I my Discord started reading some of it. It's very you know what it is? It's very uninteresting. I can't see myself doing like my how it was Shadowversity did the Shadow the Conqueror.
Mhm.
review where I responded to his book by reading through it. I can't see myself doing that with Hilary Lane's book because it's very functional in a very uninteresting way. It's very it's basically like those Chinese novels that get adapted to those Chinese dramas.
It's interesting
Except
because she has
mhm,
a bunch of like Korean and Japanese translated books in
mm,
her recommended, like stuff that's been translated.
mhm.
So it's interesting that you say that.
Well, the thing is, like, she has an admiration for these historical stories. Like, she's mentioned a few times liking them, but the problem is, I think that she hates how gay they are or how gay they can be read. Um, because the BL scene for the Chinese dramas are like in K
Yeah, no,
dramas are
yeah, I'm aware.
intense.
I'm
They
aware.
are intense. I do not like so intense they've gotten websites banned from the Chinese internet over, you know.
Amazing.
Oh,
Amazing.
it is something else. But Hillary hates that. She hates the fact that it can be read as gay. Deeply so. To the point where half her video was complaining about it. The half like the last 20 minutes of her hour-long fan fiction video was, like, complaining about how, "I can't believe these people think it's gay," you know? Basically praising the Chinese government for clamping down on
Oh my
AO3.
god. Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, truly a pioneer of, literary analysis where you have to, like, ignore the entire interpretation of works that you don't agree with, like, to such a profound degree. Like, not even, like, engaging, like, "Oh, yeah, I can think that way." Like, no, it's just, "Fuck them, 'em, they're wrong. Kill the
Fuck them.
website.
Fuck
Fuck
them.
them. Ban
Great.
AO3
Great.
off the internet today, good sirs and
She hates
madams."
it. She hates AO3.
She cannot oh, yeah, no, she has a she has a deep hatred towards any work that is exploitative in any fashion. But not as exploitative in the sense of, like, sexual, but, like, exploiting any emotion,
Uh-huh.
that can make you feel something. So, she
Again,
seems to feel this
she is a
yeah.
writer that hates writing,
Yeah, but not just writing, but she
but
also
reading.
hates
She hates reading.
she she hates feeling anything. Like,
Uh-huh.
I feel like she's at home with a good tome from the 13th century from some monks
You know
who sat
what's
around thinking about the objects of morality.
but here's you know what? I think this is a very fitting thumbnail. She's surrounded by a bunch of books, but the one that she's reading is blank. There's nothing on the cover. How fitting.
Nothing. Perfect.
Anyway,
Perfect explanation.
just
You got
want
a
to
bunch
get
of super chats, though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to get to those and then we'll hit play and we're not going to yap anymore because I think we're like 10 minutes in. Have hit
A little more
play
than
because
that, but I
this is
agree.
an
But it's a long
hour
video.
long
We have a lot to
video.
watch.
We're going to
We have a
watch
lot
now
to
two
watch.
times speed. And
Oh,
reviewing the
yeah.
story she wrote slash is writing when.
I'm not doing that. We're not doing a Shadow the Conqueror style response to the blueprints. It's just too dull. It's not. I don't think I can make it funny like I could with
Uh-huh.
Shadow the Conqueror.
Yeah.
There's just not as much humor to be
Yeah.
got from that.
Yeah, exactly. I have a feeling that we're going to get very frustrated with this video already, but we'll try
Yeah.
to. The thing is that the reason that I'm responding to this is because it's the antithesis to a video I made called,
Mhm.
you know, Dark Fiction Isn't Evil. If you haven't watched it, you should after the stream, of course. Um,
I agree. I second that. I second that. Anyone watching, put that in your queue for later. It's really good.
but I promise you, there is not a book on this earth that will make a good person a bad person. There's not a book that will make a gentle person a murderer. You can't make somebody into a pedophile with a book. Like you can't. Like that's not how it works.
But
You can't.
it is interesting though from that perspective that she recommends The Name of the Rose.
Uh
Krim,
huh.
have you read In the Name of the Rose? The
I
Name of
have
the Rose?
not. I have not.
Well, the whole it's a murder mystery story. I'm
Uh
gonna
huh.
spoil an element of the motivation
Uh huh.
in that book. It's like 40 years old, so I think at
Uh
this
huh.
point, if you haven't read it, this
Spoiler
might
for a
make you want to read it.
40-year-old book. Yeah.
Yeah, this might make you actually make you want to read it more. Actually, almost 50 now. I think about it. It was in the 80s. I think it came out. The motivation of the killer is to conceal the knowledge of. I think it's Aristotle's Poetics. The work is famously partially lost.
Hmm.
Well, this one monastery, I think it's like in the 13th or 15th, 14th century in Europe, has part of the lost manuscript.
Oh, so this is what Dan Brown ripped off. Okay, I get
Oh
it.
yeah, no. Basically, everything Dan Brown did, Umberto Eco did way better in the 80s.
Of
But the
course.
idea is he's murdering people because this passage that's lost argues that a good satire can completely destroy an idea, a tenet of religion. And so the fear is that if people start to realize you can make fun of the church, then the church has no power. So that's the gist of it. That's part of the motivation of the killer. Again, I'm very oversimplifying. It's a lot more
Yeah.
to it than just that. But I read it years ago, so I'm going off of memory. But that's the primary motivation of the killer,
Um,
which is great. It's
Next super
fantastic.
chat, Yamata Rambles. Thank you for the $5. Have either of you seen the Hunchback of Notre Dame film where it's centered around the printing press and Quasi wrote a book? I have not.
Yes, that's the '30s one, right? With with
Oh,
Charles Lawton as Quasimodo.
I think I saw a little bit of it. I think
Yeah.
because my dad had a collection of black and white films, and I think it was in
Oh
there, but
yeah.
like I don't remember it very clearly. Vincent Price
It's
left much more of a distinct
Oh
impression
yeah,
on me.
no. Vincent Price is a blop. I mean, I can't blame you. Vincent Price is great. But I do love that version of Hunchback of Notre Dame. Although
Hmm.
they do the
It's
same thing
different.
that Disney does where they divide Frollo into two characters because they couldn't have like a priest or deacon be like that predatory in the
Hmm.
1930s.
Milkweed says, unsurprising that she hates queer subtext. Yeah, nobody's surprised.
Yeah, no. She doesn't just hate
Uh,
queer subtext, she hates queer text also.
Paige says for $19 she wants to read BL so badly, but it's throttled by Catholic guilt. Everything makes sense now.
Basically.
Uh,
I
and
love it.
oh man, we got a bunch. I love
I
how you
think
make her
patient choice, yeah.
crazier in the thumbnails. I mean,
Next thing we got
I worry that I'm edging in on being a little bit misogynistic, so I might calm down a little
although her,
bit.
like her being feral around a big werewolf man, though, was kinda perfect. I will say that.
um, Wait, second story was bigging up an Umberto Eco book with her politics. Has she ever read his essays? The reading miscomprehension is off the charts. Thank you, the Gurku man.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And last one before we hit play. I'm aware that Netflix is making a film about the real life Quasi. Thank you, J Wang
There is
Mix.
there is no real life Quasi, I don't believe. I believe the book was written by, Victor Hugo to inspire renovation of the Notre Dame
Yeah,
Cathedral because it
it
was
was
in disarray at the
it
time.
was propaganda for the fucking cathedral.
Yeah, that's why more of the book is spent talking about Notre Dame than it is the characters in the book. It's kind of hilarious in hindsight.
So it's like as long as the teacup continues to increase in size, it's all good. I
It's gonna be
got
like
you.
It's gonna be like Katamari Damacy, where like the world is devoured in the teacup eventually.
The thing is that the original cup that she was actually holding in the video is a coffee mug, not a teacup.
Yeah,
And
right.
I I just did the teacup so that I could like kind of write white lady beverage cup on it, and then it just became its own character. And I am kind of doing it spitefully as well because I know she would rather be associated with the weird plastic skull that she keeps on her desk, but I'm not letting her have that. Skulls are cool.
No,
Sean
skulls are
didn't
too awesome.
Sean doesn't deserve this.
Why'd you kidnap Sean like that? He's just
Yeah,
a fun little
give him
skeleton boy.
back. Give him back. Oh,
I have, unironically, I have like 5 skulls in this room right now that I'm recording this in.
I don't have a skull, but I have
How do
like
you
a
not have a skull?
no. Listen to me. Listen to me. I have a skeleton, like plushie that is in the shape of a bean. It's
I
hard to
love it.
describe unless you see it. And I have a dismembered zombie hand. So it's not a skull, but I have stuff with
Okay,
skulls on them, like jewelry and shirts and stuff and
that's fair. That's
posters. But
fair.
I don't have a skull. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't have a skull. I don't have a skull.
Oh, okay. I have a plague mask. Does that count for
Perfect.
anything?
I have those too.
I do love plague masks.
Yeah, they're pretty. I once dressed up as a crow plague doctor to go to a
Oh, I
drag
love it.
Halloween event, and fucking Detox and Kimchi were there, and I got to
I love
hug.
everything about this.
I got to hug Kimchi, and Kimchi is a lot taller than she looks. It was like
Oh my god.
hugging a giant Barbie doll, and she smelled really nice. It was so cool.
I love everything about this. Also, yeah, people in chat are mentioning this. Yeah, Sora got shut down. Disney killed the Sora. Sora died and Disney ran away.
Somebody posted that in one of my friends sent that, and I sent back stupid little Riku with his hands on his hips.
Yeah, that was me. I sent you that. I sent you that one.
I was trying to.
That was me telling you about it.
So 2 more super chats. Oh my goodness, you guys are being great today. Writing my toxic yaoi visual novel while shaking my head, so God knows I do not approve. Approve of H-cap star kissing. Thank you for the super chat, Starry Sparrow. And
thank you.
Nick Wolf says, "No, Krim, you need to go further. The answer is turning her mug into a suit of armor that she wears like Hakumen. A la Blink. The end has come. I'm turning her cup into an Evangelion. That's it."
Oh my god, yes. Yeah, or like the freaking Gurren Lagann, like like the bottom part of Gurren, like the Gurren part of Gurren Lagann where it's like a big ball with arms. Yes.
BTW, check out the Hunchcast podcast about NDDP. Thank you again, Jangway.
Notre Dame. Oh yeah, Notre Dame. Okay, Notre Dame of Paris.
Oh,
Notre Dame de Paris. No, the French,
yeah. The French. I'm really bad at acronyms, so even though I am bilingual, I didn't get that. Thank you, and also hi, Kyla.
Hey, Kyla.
All right, now, okay, we're pressing play.
Show of hands, how many of you have heard this? It doesn't matter what you read, so long as you're reading. I can't think of very many statements that I disagree with more than that one. The reality is that the stories we take in have a direct, tangible, noticeable effect on our character, behavior, intelligence.
Is that too fast?
That's too fast. Yeah, I can't follow that.
Playback speed.
Maybe 1.5. Maybe 1.5 speed.
Positive and negative. It absolutely matters what we read. Here's the thing. Books, movies, video games, television, etc. impact, alter, form, and manipulate your mind. This has been a scientifically recognized fact for almost a century in some.
No, it hasn't. What? Bitchware. Fucking sources.
Oh my god, she's becoming Jack Thompson, isn't she?
Here's the thing.
That's what this is.
Here's the thing. Look, and see, she's drinking coffee. She doesn't drink tea, but I'm a bitch, so.
What is that? Is that like his thing?
I think it's a latte, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, lattes are okay, but like.
I mean, I like all hot drinks, kind of, but.
Can I be like a coffee snob for a second here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Unless you have a latte. Lattes are fine, but if you're just having ordinary coffee, I think anything more than like actually no, I think no milk should be in your coffee unless it's like a latte or like a dessert drink like that.
Sorry.
I think coffee should be as black as possible. I think even not even sugar. I think just straight if you're gonna drink coffee, you drink the coffee black.
Oh, here's the problem is that it's hard to get coffee that is good enough quality to drink black in North America.
No, even bad quality coffee, you got to drink it black. Just any of the grittiness should be absorbed into the body directly.
Who fucking hurt you?
Listen. As an Italian, when I was a young boy, my grandparents would give us espresso around the dessert table, and we drink it black.
Okay. I think that the thing is, and I've said this multiple times, that the problem isn't what people are reading. It's often the context in what they're reading and the lack of education surrounding it. So if you, as, I don't know, some 15-year-old person, the first exposure they get to gay people is a book that's bashing gay people and depicting them as degenerates, that might end in you being homophobic. But if you are aware of what gay people are, you know other gay people, you're familiar with them, you're going to read something that is presenting a poor view on gay people, and you're going to be like, well, I know gay people and they're not like that. And
Mm.
that's nothing happens.
Exactly, and I think one important thing is that fiction can reinforce or challenge your pre-existing beliefs.
Hmm.
I think it's healthy to have your beliefs challenged, even by works you find offensive. I think it's important to maybe not necessarily like embrace works that are like a go against what you believe, but it's good to challenge yourself by seeing it, even if it is maybe because that's how a lot of people who grew up in like very conservative households, for example, like a conservative person reading a work by, say, Octavia Butler or um, oh, who's another example? Ursula K. Le Guin, or any number of
Well,
works like that. Those are my two go-tos because I think about them first. Like imagine like a person growing up in a very conservative household in the '60s reading The Left Hand of Darkness. Like how revolutionary that must have been at the time, you know?
well, okay. Here's the thing, and this is part of the Catholic bullshit and the
Mm,
conservative bullshit is, and why I brought up the fact that she, despite purporting herself as a writer, she's not, you know,
mm,
very accomplished in writing anything. She's written one novel that she doesn't even advertise on her website, and like 3 poems. Um,
yeah.
Now, what I think happens is that people like this would rather be like, well, I'm a good person. Have I accomplished anything? No. But you can tell that I'm good because I'm reading or watching or like what have you, participating in the good things. I'm good because the things I like are good, and therefore I'm
Mm.
good. And because
Exactly.
that's how she bases her goodness on, she therefore has to, in contrast, for her to be good, there has to, the people that read the bad books are bad. Because she
Exactly.
can't look at the accomplishments of the people reading the quote unquote bad books. She has to look at the things they like because she has nothing outside of the things she likes. She only
Exactly.
she hasn't accomplished anything. She just likes books. Um, so therefore, that has to decide on whether somebody's a good or bad person. Otherwise, she's nothing, and that is terrifying, especially to a Catholic.
Yeah,
No
no, the
offense,
Catholic guilt there.
Anthony.
You were like triggering my years of Catholic guilt there. No, but it's like, and again, like here's the thing also. She has written a lot on her website, but I feel like she is someone who needs to be recognized for her talents. I recognize that in myself too. I am someone who
But
wants some people to recognize my
she's
talents, but
but
I
she's
also
not looking to be recognized for her talents, Anthony. That's the difference. She's looking to be recognized for her interests, and that's different.
mm, that's true. That's true. And she also wants to put others down who put themselves out there.
Okay, because here's the thing. This is why I'm gonna psychoanalyze this bitch, and if she ever
Okay, fair,
watches
fair.
this, I feel kind of bad. But if we look at her channel, if we look at her little YouTube channel that she has, she's she's moderately successful. But
Yeah.
if you go back to the beginning, the stuff where she was like, "Here's how you write a story. Don't give up on your first jab. How to build a good character arc." Uh, she was doing kind of okay. Um, but she had her ups and downs at first, and I think
Mm.
then she found her niche in ripping apart other people for what they like, and she hasn't done any writing advice since.
Well, it's not just that, but
Once
she
she
al
realizes if she's tearing people
Mhm,
apart, once she realized that
mhm.
that was her meal ticket, she kind of drifted away from writing advice.
Yeah, but there's another angle to it also. she got successful because Asmongold shouted her out on stream.
Ooh, gross.
Yeah, no, that was her big. That was that one video that was like hugely successful on her channel. I forget which one it was, like the first big one. That got successful because Asmongold gave it a shout out.
Yeah.
And it caught the algorithm before that. It did catch on, but it only elevated because it got a huge shout out from a major streamer. And like she and I have drifted very close in terms of sub count. Like I think she's
she's at 120. She's 129 right now.
Yeah, and I'm 127. So we're very close in terms of sub count and have been for a while. And her average view count is pretty consistent, but she also uploads like only the same and then it goes back and forth. There's only certain things that really launch her channel, and it's basically her making fun of like modern storytelling. And it's very much only that. And it's a shame because I can imagine feeling like stifled by that like restriction. It's gotta, like, on one hand, she is such a negative person, but it's gotta really suck realizing your audience only likes it when you hate things. Like she can't celebrate things she likes.
Yep.
Which is interesting. Anyway.
All right, let's press play because we are 36 seconds in.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a long
It has been a known fact among the fairy tale tellers and fable writers for millennia. Right up front, here is what we know to be fact. First, fiction presents to you an image of reality which you will then use to construct your perception of the real world. Second, fiction can subtly change you over time. This includes changing your opinions, your behavior, your tastes, your beliefs, and sometimes even your personality. This is
okay.
Oh no, how dare
hold on a second.
Influence you.
hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going back to my channel. We're just gonna click on this one.
Okay.
Because
I'll do a little advertising.
Yeah, do a little advertising. This is the video that I made. Again, go watch it. But these are all things that I like: BoJack Horseman, Dexter, The Coffin of Andy and Lele, and Death Note. I have liked this kind of thing since I was a kid. I have yet to kill anyone. I know. Very impressive considering how violent and how bloodthirsty I am.
Brave.
But I know.
So brave,
I know.
Prim. So brave.
I have yet to eat anyone. I have yet to commit incest. What do you mean? Sometimes you're just like, you know what? Is this fucked up or what? I need to rotate this inside my brain for a little bit. What's the most fucked up thing that you know what?
Do you really want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Really
go
want me to answer that question?
Go for it.
Well, it's certainly a tie. I mean, I did read Marquis de Sade when I was in like middle school.
Of course you did.
A Serbian film was pretty extreme as well. I haven't done anything from a Serbian film, thank God. Nothing from that movie.
I think the worst thing that I ever experienced was probably Dead Girl.
Dead Girl's pretty rough. That's a rough movie to watch. Another really rough one's Irreversible. That one's a tough movie to. I think Irreversible might be one of the most upsetting films I've ever seen. Come and See is another one that's really upsetting.
I know that he's pretty normie core these days, but some of Stephen King's shit is. Oh,
it can get really dark.
Bruh.
I think.
Like I read it when I was in high school.
Oh yeah, no, that's either the best or worst time to read it. I don't know if that's the worst or best time to read it.
I really enjoyed it. I was just like at that one scene, I was like, feel
in
like
the
they didn't need to do that.
They really didn't. Another one from
with the power of pussy. Yippee!
No God. Another one from that era is freaking Jack Ketchum. Some of his works, like the Girl Next Door, Off Season. Those are some dark freaking books. Like they're very upsetting. Anyway, back to this.
Wait, before we go on, I want to be real and vulnerable with you and with the audience here for a second.
Okay.
I've kind of mentioned before that I am aro ace, like I'm kind of, over the whole dating but I do read a lot of horny stuff. It's more like I want to study it like a bug under a magnifying glass, It's like I don't get it. I don't have these feelings, but they fascinate me. So, I gotta be real with you guys. I'm not gonna tell you what it is because you don't need to know that. But like, I read a lot of fucking horny fiction. But like, I'm not going out and fight and be like, man, that fucking piece of work. I need to go out and fuck right now. Like, I don't.
Yeah, and
And
that's totally valid.
supposedly, Hillary has read the books. I hope she has, because if she hasn't, what little modicum of respect I have for her is going to vanish immediately. I'm assuming she also read the books she's criticizing. She reads a lot, so I expect that she's the kind of person that would read books even that she doesn't like. She seems like that kind of person to me, and I can respect that kind of person a little bit, even if I completely disagree with her and I think she's dumb.
I think the problem is that she doesn't understand the work she's
And
talking about. Like, I think she's read them. I just don't think it sinks in.
That's fine. My point is that Hillary has read these books, and seemingly it hasn't changed her. Why does she think that she is the exception? How old is she, by the way?
She's older than both of us.
Really?
Yeah, she's in her late 30s, I think.
Wow. Because it's like, I could kind of see a young because like, there's a part that I think a lot of young intellectual types, like I went through it, I'm sure you went through it, where we genuinely think, even though we never say it out loud, even though we don't quite realize we think that way, that we just assume we're smarter than everybody else and that we are the exception to a lot of rules.
You see, that was me before going to college, because you're in high school, you're surrounded by the same people. You kind of think, oh, I'm this certain niche of person. And then you go to college, you realize you're surrounded by people who are all also in that niche of person.
Yeah.
And you realize you were not like you weren't the biggest fish. You were a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. And
essentially.
Like I kind of held on to that belief a little bit longer than was healthy. Arrested Development's not great. But I mean, the show's great, but like the concept,
great show.
the phenomenon.
Yeah, I figured what you meant.
It's not great. I held on to that. The person that I was even like 4 years ago, I don't think that we would have been friends. I don't think you would have liked me very much. I was not a very nice person back then. And it was frustrating to be with, and the people that stuck with me after the fact, thank goodness. But that's still something I associated with youth. Like I was immature for my age. The fact that she's in her late 30s and she's holding on to this childish belief of like, well, I read them and of course I didn't get changed. But
Krim,
like everybody else does.
Krim, you're forgetting one key thing. She was homeschooled.
Oh, yeah.
She never had to confront ideas that challenged her.
Right.
She could isolate herself. Also, she's rich. I think she's extremely well off.
She's sheltered.
Yeah, like she could afford to be cut off. She can afford to be taught the correct way. Like she believes phonics is the most important part of the American education, is the most important thing to educate people, and that if you don't teach phonics, you don't have any understanding of like knowledge. She's very, very, very sheltered.
All right, I'm gonna read some super chats and then we can get back.
Sounds
I am
good.
now unsubbing from Ant for his coffee take.
Fair.
Thank you, Zephyr. Matt Sherlock says Disney killed Sora. No, who will fight the Heartless now? Wait, Sora the AI. Never mind then. Woo! Hope they lost so much money on that dumb bet. Me too. I have thoughts and feelings about generative AI. They're not surprising, I think, because I'm very anti-AI. But like, I'd like to talk about it in a video. But long story short, I wish that I wish it wasn't a black box. B, I think if we created them, like imagine like somebody that is like a D&D module writer making their own LLM from the ground up that is trained only on their modules. And in, a lot of D&D modules and like single player campaigns that you play against, like, those text-based games that you played when you were younger, like go left, go right. Imagine, I guess it wouldn't really be a large language model in that case, would it? I just wish there was
probably
more
a limited language model, I would imagine.
Yeah, but like, just using similar technology to make things like that more immersive, because in those kind of games, and again, if you've ever played text-based adventures, you've always gotten to like, I don't understand what that is, or like, I don't understand the question, or like, maybe you should ask another question. Those are so frustrating. Imagine if you played a game like that, or like a mud or anything. I'm really showing my age now and my stupid little
I
hobby.
feel like that
Imagine
does sort of exist, but like I just feel like that would be really there'd be a
apparently
lack of warmth, I think, to it. A lack of
apparently somebody one of my audience members told me that apparently that was kind of a thing. There was a dungeon AI thing before LLMs were a thing, but now it's been affected and overtaken by LLMs. But just it would
yeah.
be interesting if like it would be interesting in the turn, and this is the only use case that I can
Hmm.
think that LLMs would ever have a place. But imagine like it's an AI that has a bunch of modules or a bunch of like scenarios that the author has written, and it's the only thing it's trained on, and it's also trained on like player interaction, and beyond that it gets no other input, and it
So
just
so you mean like would you say like a roguelike essentially?
sort of, yeah, but it's more. But there's also limitations to roguelikes. It's kind of flattened, like it can't create novel experiences.
Hmm.
I'm saying like it would be interesting if you could get an AI to make novel experiences for like for campaigns with like Dungeons and Dragons sort of a thing where it's like an open world that you could do anything in. And like I get that part of it is like, well, just get a DM, but like that's not always
Hmm.
an option for everyone. So it's like that is the only use case that I can think of.
So Wizards of the Coast was gonna actually do that at one point.
Yeah.
They were planning on doing that, but the problem is
Yeah.
that they found was the player experience went downhill because the AI can only do so much. Even if it's trained
Yeah,
on a limited set of data, it always loops back to the same sort
absolutely.
of affirmation kind of scenarios, and it's
Yeah.
always very
I
cyclical
I
in nature.
don't okay. I don't want to get too nerdy and I don't want to get too eye in the sky, pie in the sky, whatever the saying is. But I
Mhm.
don't think our technology is there yet. This is like a one day. This is me hoping that like,
Mm.
oh man, wouldn't it be cool to play those virtual reality, like the virtual
Prim, do
reality
you
that
just
we
wanna go on the Star Trek holodeck? Is it do
Yes,
you
I
just
just
wanna go
want
on
to
the
go on
Star
the
Trek holodeck?
holodeck. I just want to go. I just want the holodeck. That's all I fucking want. I just want the holodeck, or at least like a
Just a little
written
holodeck.
version of the. I just want the holodeck. I just want the holodeck, Anthony. That's all I want. And I just want the holodeck to be real. I can't believe you saw through me. I just want the holodeck to be real.
I'm like, "Wait a
I
second, I think you
yeah
just wanna go
yeah. I
do
just
the
want the
Sherlock
holodeck.
Holmes adventures
Yes
with
yes
data."
yes yes. Okay yes yes. You caught me. I just want the
And
holodeck to be
Geordie
real.
and Worf
But
and all that.
no, seriously. Like I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think one day we might be. And I like, these people that know better shoot me if I'm wrong, but I don't think
Hmm.
it's going to happen until we unlock the full potential of quantum computing.
Yeah, that's not happening for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. But it's
We
like,
have more
listen,
success that
let me
came.
dream. Let me fucking dream. Okay. Uh you fucking cut to the core. You just want the holodeck. Yeah. Subscribing to Ant a second time for his correct coffee opinion, says Beaver
See? That's
2021.
good.
I can't believe I was introduced to Asmund Gold through Hillary Lane of
Uh,
all people by Cloud
Cloud
Parade.
Cloud Parade, also has reacted to Hillary. You should check out check their channel out as well.
Oh wow. Actual
Yeah,
YouTuber
yeah.
in wow, it's crazy that
Oh, yeah.
YouTubers watch YouTube. Wow.
Isn't it crazy that YouTubers watch YouTubers talk about YouTubers? It's wild.
This is getting a little meta. Starry Sparrow, thank you for the super chat. Speak for yourself. As an ace man, I would absolutely redacted for decency. God, if it asked politely. Amazing.
Amazing.
Also, would you prefer avoidance of dark media or deliberate washing down of it to the point of it being unrecognizable, like right wing readings of left wing media? Avoidance.
Neither, actually.
But if you
Neither of
had to
those sound good.
choose,
Uh,
I think
honestly, mm,
I think avoidance. Because here's the thing with
avoidance, yeah.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but I've heard some things. So I can't speak on it too much. But the Animal Farm, ugh,
Okay, we have to keep watching this once we last super chat, then we go back to
yeah.
video. We're getting too sidetracked.
And Cassie Hosh says, I had a friend who's Arrow Ace and wrote the greatest smut I've ever read. My theory is that since she doesn't have the need to jork it, she writes it in a more objective way, making it better overall. Exactly. It's a science. It's a science to us Arrow Aces. It's just like you observe and you're like, I need to collect data, and then yeah.
All right, back to Hillary.
Yes, back to Hillary. Okay.
It isn't a matter of believing this or not. This is simple reality. The question is, how does this happen, and what does it mean for the formation and health of our minds?
I want to eat her keyboard, actually.
Yeah.
Chucky.
Interesting. It does look like a nice keyboard.
In my videos about smut and fanfiction, I pointed out that long-term consumption of particularly disturbing types of these things can lead to equally disturbing shifts in a person's character. It isn't just analyses that I've read that told me this, but also common.
All right. So let me respond to you real quick, because having watched now both of those videos, her explanation for these points is that she says, hey, don't you find it strange how there's more smut in the world, but also more child predators at the same time? Coincidence?
That's crazy coming
that is literally
from a Catholic. That's crazy coming from a.
In both those videos, that if you consume smut, it makes you want to consume more smut, and then eventually you become a child predator.
Okay, so I do have something to say about that, because I actually do understand the psychology behind this, and I am knowledgeable about the psychology behind this. Mm-hmm. First of all, again, wild coming from a Catholic, especially a fundamentalist Catholic. Fucking insane. Secondly, yes, but actually no. So so again, I'm going to be frank, this is already getting demonetized. I just know it. There is, and I don't stream, and I don't monetize my streams anyway. You guys are already giving me money. I don't need to add ads. There is no book that will, and I'm sorry if this is uncomfortable, but there's no book that will make a non-pedophile into a pedophile. It's just not going to happen. However, there are two things to consider. And one is that if you are already a pedophile, reading these books and being like, oh, I'm just trying to feed the hunger, but not actually hurt anybody. You think that you're feeding something, but what you're actually doing is you're repressing. You're still repressing it, and repressing leads to it not getting treated, which leads to an increased likelihood of you eventually acting out on the thing that you are repressing. That's just how repression works. It's the same reason. It can be as dark as this, and it can be as innocent as going on a diet where you're like, I'm not going to eat chocolate for my entire diet. Eventually, you're going to break. So you have to, whenever you repress and you're not treating, you have to say no and make the correct decision and have ultimate willpower every single time that urge hits you. Again, whether it's based in being a predator or just as simple as, I want a little treat. Now, for diet culture, we do this thing where a lot of nutritionists and a lot of dietitians that actually know what they're talking about will like, you're never going to be able to cut a food out of your life entirely. The best thing to do is to, do what it is to engage with it in a healthy manner. But if it's something like self-harm or predatory inclinations, you need to go to therapy and get it treated. I'm not somebody that can do that for you. Hillary is not somebody that can do that for you. But if this is like an actual condition that you have, you might not have the condition that you think. Like you could have POCD, which is, we're not going to get into that, but it's like the fear that you are a predator rather than being a predator. So and this often comes in like avoidant behavior of like parents abandoning their children because they're afraid they'll hurt them. But like, again, unless you're already a predator, you're not gonna, like there's no harm that can come to you reading a book about a predatory character. And the other thing is that like certain spaces that celebrate these books in a certain way can create a community for people to talk to each other and then meet up with each other, which is why it's important to not hide these kind of books. And because if you do that, then the only place to access them is kind of the fringe, more dangerous parts of society.
Exactly. And it's important to note that Hillary conflates POCD with actual predatory behavior.
Yeah. Oh, she brings that up. She brings
She brought it up in her
POCD.
fan fiction video.
Oh,
In her fan
God.
fiction video, yes. She directly says that that she is her claim is that she's spoken to people who are self-admitted sex porn addicts, which is not really a thing. And
I
claim
mean,
that those people develop peace. Well, I mean, you can become addicted to anything, but
look,
like most people,
yeah.
from what I'm saying, most people who claim to be porn addicts are actually just people who consume porn a normal amount and are guilty about it.
Well, okay. So
Well, what is normal, actually, I should say.
there is also hypersexuality, which is an addiction, but like
That's true.
that comes from something else. It's a self-destructive behavior, like any addiction.
That's
Like
true.
you can be addicted to sex and masturbation. You can be addicted to anything. People say that marijuana isn't addictive, but you can get addicted to that.
That's also true.
I think
Mentally addictive, certainly.
whenever physical dependence is not the same thing as addiction. When you think it's mentally addicting, addiction is entirely mental. When people say marijuana isn't addictive, they're saying that it's not there. You don't develop a physical dependency on it.
That's a good distinction.
From a clinical standpoint, addiction is entirely mental. In any case, she's full of shit.
Yeah. What it comes down to is the thing is she claimed that she spoke to people who were self-admitted smut addicts and claimed to develop POCD, which she then conflated with predatory behavior.
Also, again, for somebody that is a writer, she is not very good at citing her sources.
She hates having her sources cited. Like she gets mad if she's gotten not mad, but not mad. She in previous videos she's made fun of her comments asking her for sources.
Yeah, this is okay. You know the person that wrote Age of Scorpius?
Yes.
This is the same.
Yeah, Milo, right?
Yeah. Hillary is of the same ilk, I think.
I would argue no, in that I think Lane is worse.
Well,
Lane is much worse.
Lane is older and has time. Oh yeah, Milo's very young.
He was like 22, 21, right? Like very young.
Something like that. But she's had time to ferment and fester, and she should know better.
Yeah. Exactly. All right,
anyway.
We should get back to this because we're only like
Yet
10
for this,
seconds
more
in.
than anything else, I was enthusiastically condemned. No, I was told in no uncertain terms, fiction is not reality, and it can't do that to people. Duh, or other variations on the same. Within these communities, smut and fan fiction, there's a lot of talk about all the positive effects reading can have on your mind. Increased empathy, decreased loneliness, etc. But apparently when it comes to negative things, fiction can't have any effects on your mind. Duh.
Sorry to be a pause,
me in this one. She's fine to me, I think, in this one.
Yeah.
I made fun of her for that.
And the thing is that, like, again,
Milo Winter, thank you.
Sure, it can have a negative effect on you, but it's like not the fiction itself, it's the context in which it's consumed. Again, if you read like, I'm trying to think of a book that might be a little bit disturbing to read that would...
The Anarchist's Cookbook.
Sure. Or propaganda. It's just how propaganda works, but propaganda only works because people don't have any alternative. It's not... You can't have too much education and information. There's no such thing. And any negative effect you have from reading a harmful, quote unquote, book that gives you wrong ideas, the solution is to read more. That's literally just to read more. If you're only reading smut, I mean, like, okay, maybe I'm sorry to be a fucking chud. If you're one of the book talk girlies and all you read is like the most fucking like bare bones ass smut, then yeah, maybe I do question your literacy skills. I'm sorry. I don't think you're hurting anybody. I just am like, don't know if I trust your opinion on anything. Okay, I get that. But
Yeah.
again, the question, the solution isn't stop reading the stuff you like. It's like read more books, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. And I think another factor too that I just think Lane is like ignoring is that a well-rounded diet of books is important, you know?
Exactly.
Also, Krim, if we can't finish this in one night, let's break up into 2
I mean,
streams.
we know the difference between fiction and reality.
Yeah.
Very often, too, I was told that insisting that fiction can affect behavior is identical to the silly arguments from the 90s that video games cause violence, which, yes, was absolutely false.
This is
So I
absolutely
suppose
about
it's
you.
high time we take a closer look at
This
just how
is
much of an effect
absolutely
the
response
fiction
to
we
my
consume
video.
has on our minds and our character. The video game thing gets brought up a lot whenever I try to talk about this, and so before we dive in too deep, I want to get this out of the way right up front, mainly because this particular issue is responsible for, by far, the most unproductive misunderstanding with this entire topic. Back in 1997, a troubled teenage boy by the name of Yvonne Ramsey took a shotgun to school and killed a bully and his high school principal. Not long after, in 1999, we had Columbine, which was one of those massive seismic cultural shifts that you don't realize has happened until you look back on it. Anyway, later that year, 60 Minutes aired a special on the topic of school violence and school shootings and did all kinds of narrative gymnastics to wriggle and cartwheel around every other issue and instead blamed quote-unquote violent video games for producing violent behavior, especially in teenage boys.
And he spent hours every day playing the violent video game Doom.
I think this is an interesting thing to bring up.
Yeah, and it's
Because
interesting. Oh, sorry, cut you off there.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think video games make you violent, but you know what is something where video games have affected reality is how games like COD are used as propaganda to recruit people for the military.
Yes, but I think another element of this is very interesting
hmm
is that she's bringing up video games as though it's the first time this argument happened, when books were also used in the same
Yeah.
argument, specifically Dungeons and Dragons
Yep.
books
Satanic
in
Panic,
the
baby.
80s.
Yep.
The freaking West Memphis 3 were in prison for 18 fucking years because of the association with Satanism, with D&D, with metal music, and the belief that all of these were interconnected and caused people to become violent. When these were just edgy kids in high school. They weren't Satanists. They just liked wearing dark punk clothing, and they were mentally handicapped.
I'm like don't say handicap, bro. What the
Sorry,
fuck?
they were.
It's okay.
But
Yeah, that's the way. No, handicapped is not a term we use anymore. But I get that we're talking about a past.
Sure.
So
sorry about that.
Yeah, just afflicted with mental illnesses, perhaps, or like I have a learning disability. We don't use handicapped anymore, dude. But that's okay.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the right terminology. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You're good. The problem isn't, oh, I said the wrong thing. It's how you respond to it, and you're always really gracious about it. So I wouldn't worry about it. In any case,
okay. But no, they had learning disabilities.
Yeah.
The one poor kid who was interrogated for 18 hours by the police.
Oh, Jesus.
He basically had the idea that he committed the crime put into him by the end of that interrogation. He was interrogated without a lawyer, without his parents there. He was like an underage kid just being grilled for 18 hours. And then he kind of said something that they extrapolated into a full-blown confession.
Yeah. But
even though there was no evidence they committed the crime.
But in terms of the recruitment that COD and other similar video games have done for the military, people are always quick to point the blame at video games, but they're not pointing the finger at the United States military. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the military marketing complex, essentially.
Yeah. Yep.
And the thing is, a game like Doom, the reason it was blamed was, again, combining it into the Satanic Panic. But I also have to say, I find it interesting how she's isolating this argument, knowing that Asmongold is a big reason she has such a big audience.
Because he's really into D&D.
Well, he's a big gamer. He became popular because he was popular in the gaming sphere.
Yeah.
He's not like a Hassan or anyone like that who's political first as a streamer. Asmongold was a video game guy who then started talking out of his ass about all different types of things.
I mean, there are more. So, there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of those. I mean, I talk about my ass all the time too. But but I mean, Columbine does have a lot. This, I will say this: her mentioning Columbine is not a bad thing to do
Yeah,
because it did
absolutely.
get blamed on video games. But the
Absolutely.
problem is exactly, but the problem is specifying if you're going to specify how certain things influence behavior, you got to be very specific with how you focus your discussion. You have to focus on, the marketing of the reinforcement of ideas as an advertisement, which
And like there's and again, like in terms of propaganda, it's the no other alternative, because the way that the military interferes with Hollywood has basically made it impossible for major studios to criticize the military. Can't do that anymore.
exactly.
I don't think we're ever gonna get another. Oh my god, I can't even remember what it's. I'm doing my part. What is that movie?
Which one?
I'm doing my part. The meme.
Oh, Starship Troopers.
Yeah, Starship Troopers. I don't think we're gonna get that for a while. We're not gonna get one of those for another while. It's yeah. The chokehold the military has on Hollywood is insane right now. Anyway, more.
The same video game that was also said to be a source of fascination for Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the two suspects in the Colorado shooting, as well as 14-year-old Michael Carneal, who opened fire in Paducah, Kentucky.
Doom.
Anyone who has ever played
And
video
I
games, including
can't-
first-person shooters.
I have problems squishing bugs. Like I don't squish bugs, and I play Doom. Like I
Doom's
think
great.
there's something else going on here.
Knows that this claim is completely ridiculous. Sure, there were interviews with dumb kids saying dumb crap like, oh yeah, man, playing video games is the closest you can get to actually killing people. Because of course they said that. Some wide-eyed boomer put a microphone in their face and they thought they'd have a laugh because they were 16 and stupid. I'm assuming that like 9/10 of my audience already knows that video games do not cause violence. Maybe all of you. This is not news. By the way, if you're not convinced, there's a lot of data debunking this fallacy on my website. But why was this idea so
Wait a second.
prevalent? Why did it become
so
So
video
how
games
are
don't cause violence, but reading smut can turn you into a child predator.
okay now?
That's her argument.
Okay, I'm gonna steel man her, and I am going to. So there is something to be said about how literacy skills are linked to emotional regulation, and if and being literate is and being able to write and read is like key for emotional regulation, because then you can name your feelings and all of these things. There's a bunch of things with like it's crazy how deep it goes, how much these are stacked together. Like I think I've spoken to you about this before. I think I went off about you about this in DMs or like in a group chat earlier, where it's like even like giving your kid a tablet instead of a little toy to fiddle with impacts what will later be literacy skills, what will later be emotional regulation as they get older. Because if you give your kid a tablet instead of a little toy to fiddle with, millennials, we dodged this narrowly because controllers that we had when we were kids required fine motor skills. You don't develop your pincer grip. If you don't develop your pincer grip, you can't hold a pencil. If you can't hold a pencil, it's a lot harder to learn how to read and write, because writing the characters out is such a big part of learning how to read. And then if you can't write the characters out, you can't read, and then your emotional regulation is fucked. So there is ties to emotional regulation and who you are as a person. When it comes to reading specifically, there is something different going on in your brain than when you play a video game or watch a TV show. Absolutely, I think that's where she's going with this. But again, the cure is to just read more books.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's keep going and see what her argument is. Because I want to see how
issue. Because of one dumb 60-minute segment and a few histrionic talking heads on local news, look again. But this time, look past 60 minutes.
Wow.
News wasn't the real clincher here. The same idea almost immediately began to appear in fictional television. For years and years after Columbine, we had police procedurals and movies and books that featured storylines in which troubled teenagers, especially teenage boys, were all playing violent video games. And more people believed it, without a shred of evidence, without a speck of proof, without stopping to think about it themselves, without trying.
Again, because there was no evidence, nobody was talking about the evidence on the contrary.
Oh,
my
wait, no,
God.
I see where she's going with this.
Yeah.
buying the
Okay,
games
I see where
themselves
she's going with
without
this.
talking to any
Yeah.
kids who play these games. People just gradually took it as truth. And as much influence as a program like 60 Minutes genuinely had back in those days, the fictional representations did the vast majority of the heavy lifting. The TV shows and the movies that showed us over and over and over again false realities in which violent video games actually did cause violence in children primed the minds of people. And then when the next school shooter dropped, it would be a chorus of, he was probably on those violent video games. The idea was planted, nurtured, and allowed to grow without people really being aware of it, and certainly without being aware of how false it was, or even if they knew it was probably false. I want you to remember that. That's important, and we're going to come back to it. Of course, the
All right,
immediate
pause
follow-up
right here.
question.
Right.
Mhm.
So here's the thing. She's conflating right now. She's conflating the arguments.
Mhm.
So people, when they talk about fiction affecting our perspectives on life, it's reinforcing or challenging preconceived ideas.
Mhm.
She is conflating the media reinforcing an idea already present in the minds of those who were witnessing it
Mhm.
versus games causing real life violence,
Exactly.
which is not, but she herself seemed to argue
Yeah.
in her fan fiction video that consuming smutty works by the nature of the smut existing in the works would create sexual predation.
Yep.
So
Eh.
she is conflating 3 different arguments.
Yep. She's playing a shell game right now.
Yeah, to dodge the criticism made against her. Because the criticism that I made in my video about her was that there is no evidence that the fiction you're describing can cause the actions you're describing.
Yep.
In the same way that violent video games does not make you violent.
It can,
Because the idea there is that the act on page or on screen or on the controller is what inspires more actions like that. Whereas the work she's describing, the procedurals reinforcing these ideas, they're taking ideas that are already present in the audience's mind and extrapolating fantasies to reinforce those ideas.
I'm
which are
gonna
different.
let you in on a secret. Anthony probably knows why I was doing this, and I have not watched this video
Neither have
before,
I yet.
but I knew she was gonna go there, which is why I seeded this earlier when I was like, hey, absolutely, propaganda can be propagated through fiction if it is not challenged with anything else. That's why
Exactly.
I think Anthony picked up on this early on, and that's why he was
Yeah, I
like,
see
yeah,
the method behind
absolutely.
your madness.
Yeah. I knew she was going to make this argument because these people always make that argument. Because, like, yeah, you're right. Absolutely, you can make propaganda with fiction, but just read more books, learn more things. And
Exactly.
propaganda is very ineffective against a well-read, educated person.
Exactly.
And the only way to you're not immune, but the only way to guard yourself against propaganda is to constantly be educating yourself. And it makes it very ineffective.
Yeah, a great example of that are the police procedurals in general. Like
Yep.
all of them function in America so well is because people for the longest time were taught by their authorities to trust the police. But if you didn't exist in the white bread cornucopia of Americana, you would know that law enforcement people, they're not exactly enforcing the law. They're enforcing their own wants, Like there were all the raids on the gay bars, all the black people who were rounded up for breaking segregation. It's all the same methodology.
Yep.
It's all the same history. If you're outside that narrow strip of what you, but again, that's the strip that speaks the loudest, so it reinforces the same rules over and over again.
You will never meet somebody that hates cops more than I do. I don't like
Also,
cops. My ACAB is fucked.
19 minutes to.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah. She brought up 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult, which is a book I read in high school and really enjoyed, by the way. I really like
Jodi
Picoult.
It's a good book, but like, what's that do with the things she's talking about, though?
It's that she's saying that it's spreading the propaganda that violent video games cause people to be violent.
Was that the motivation of the book? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I read it too. I think it was more that he was like severely bullied and like the system failed him. The bullying was bad. I don't remember video games being much of a presence there. In any case,
I don't recall that being a major detail.
In any case,
it's been years since I read it.
In any case, man, I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Sorry about
Anthony.
that.
This is all your fucking fault.
No problem.
Oh, yeah. You'll never meet somebody who is as ACAB as me. I do not like cops. However, I watch a lot of crime procedurals. I like procedurals because, like, not like as like this is the best show ever, but it's like good stuff to put on the background that I don't have to think about too hard because it's very predictable and formulaic, and it's good garbage television for me. Dexter, I'm not so much into Law and Order. You know, I like Bones. I like Dexter. I like what's one I watched recently. You know, that sort of thing. But like, it hasn't changed how I feel about cops because I'm already educated that cop bad because I have experience in the real world. I've listened to. I've been educated. I don't. I'm not gonna. There's no show that I can watch that is gonna make me love cops. You know.
Well, let me put it this way. If television and film were this powerful of a motivator on their own, then racism would have ended with the publication of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yep.
Like that's what I mean. It's like if fiction were this powerful, why haven't anti-racist works destroyed racism?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it has to either reinforce or challenge your ideas, but it's not enough to just challenge it once or twice.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go.
Anyway. Pressing play.
Becomes why
You're 5 minutes, 6 minutes
That's a very interesting question, and one I'd invite all of you to think about at great length, but it's a little too big of a question for this video. And as much as I love a rabbit hole tangent, let's try to stay on task. No, video games do not cause violence. But remember, there's a reason people believed that was true for so long. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, the next big hurdle that we need to get over is this. If it has been widely debunked that violent video games cause violence or aggression in their players, why then do we still believe that any fictional media has any effect whatsoever on the formation of our character and our opinions and even our behavior? So, 2 questions. First, does fiction impact us enough to even be relevant? Does it form our character? Does it change our opinions? Does it alter the landscape of our minds for good or for bad? Does it change us? The answer is yes. The second question then is, if fiction has this much of an effect on us, then why don't violent video games cause violence? It might seem like I'm spending a lot of time on this, but this question creates a very convenient way for me to explain a really important distinction. So let's talk about this. All right, so firstly, violence in fiction.
Okay, so we also are arguing that fiction can influence perspectives, but influence is not the same thing as change. That's a key detail right there. And influence often involves reinforcing ideas that are currently in the mind, or allowing you to question ideas that are firmly planted there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But again, I think I've predicted where she's going with this. It's something different happens in your brain when you read versus when you watch, listen, or whatever. It's a different process.
I think it's going to be the case because she does not want to alienate her audience of like Asmongold gamer types. Like she doesn't want to piss them off too much, but she wants to reinforce what they think.
It's really easy to criticize books when none of the people in your audience read.
Yeah,
sorry, that's just my opinion. I don't think her audience reads.
And
I don't think her audience reads. And I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna go into details. But I know this because I've run into a similar person who criticized some of my favorite books, but also only watches cartoons. Like
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
They don't read. They are just bitching about books that are award-winning classics. They're considered, some great American novels. I would say like they're pretty much confirmed to be like modern classics at this point. I would say. And
I would say they're controversial books for certain, like in terms of the quality of the book, in terms of the enjoyment value. But that's different from what you're talking about. I do want to point to that.
But the people that liked these, the thing is that I think a lot of the thing is that the people
we're talking about Wicked specifically.
Yeah, we're talking about Wicked. The thing
to make it clear.
To make it clear, Wicked. The people that liked Wicked were people that liked dark, edgy fiction already. What happened in recent years, and this started with the musical, but it's gotten even worse since the movie was released, is that it's been brought to the mainstream and people are like, yeah, it's being marketed as a book for young people and it's like a Disney princess book. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. It's kind of flying in the face of that kind of story. And it's a dark criticism for it's Wizard of Oz for grown-ups, sort of a situation. It's dark, and it's political, and it's got some weird fucked up parts, but again, it's a classic at this point.
I think also it's important to note that the book Wicked both all versions of Wicked are about challenging your understanding of the status quo. But
yes,
to an extent. But like I would argue the musical and the film do so in a less confrontational way. You think in very general terms, I'm phrasing it that way.
Yeah, I would say that the main themes of Wicked aren't so much about challenging the status quo. I think that's more in the later books. What the first book is really about is because the thing is in the book, Elphaba is well liked. She has a lot of friends. Everybody loves her. Even though she's kind of, despite her weirdness, despite being green, people genuinely like Elphaba. And like, oh, that's my weird little friend Elphaba. She's kind of a smart ass and rude, but you know, we like her, the fucking freak. She has like this big friend group, and half of the people in that friend group are there because of her. Like she brought them into the fold. Glinda did bring a few people into the fold, but Glinda, Bach, and Elphaba are like the core of this friend group, and all of their friends joined that friend group. And what happens over the course of the story is that Elphaba is convinced that the only way that she can fight back against violent oppression that she is not a part of, by the way. She is a very privileged, despite being green, she's a very privileged person. She comes from an upper class family. She goes to a good school, and she kind of inserts herself and becomes like this force of change. But she also thinks that she has to be like this I'm in the shadows doing dark things. I can't be friends with anybody. I have to leave my loved ones behind. And then like she convinces herself of this so much that she drives herself into wickedness all by herself. Yeah, a couple bad things happen to her, but bad things happen to other people, and you know, they don't turn out like that. But one of the funniest points of Wicked is when she's tromping around Oz being like, yeah, I killed Madame Morrible. And they're like, okay. You want to hold my kid on your lap for a little while? And like where she's trying to convince everybody that she's evil. And they're like, oh, hey, Elphaba, I remember you from high school. Do you want to meet my child? Like it's truly funny. And the thing that kills her is her being convinced that she's a bad person. So yeah.
Yeah, very existential in that sense.
Anyway, but the reason that I know that a lot of these people that are on the side of things like this aren't reading is because the people that are criticizing me about liking Wicked clearly have not read Wicked and clearly don't read books. They just watch cartoons.
Yeah, or watch video essays about Wicked.
Yeah.
Is safe because it isn't real. The human mind does not perceive violence in video games, movies, books, or anything else in the same way it perceives real-life violence. The perception of unreality helps to mitigate the effects it has on our minds. You can find some studies in my linked article, but the bottom line is that if we know the violence is fake, it doesn't impact our minds like real violence does.
That's not
linked article where, bitch?
In her on her website.
Oh, here we go.
She links these articles. She links them separately from the video. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's really dumb. So she links articles on her site on like little blog posts that post about them.
So this is from everything else. So this is the thing that you have to buy to get access. So this is the thing that video games don't cause violence. Okay, yeah, we know that.
Yeah, that's how going through her sources was how I realized how full of shit she was. Because she would say the source said one thing on her fan fiction video, and then the article would be like, so one of her books was like, oh, the book got removed from the publisher because a character praised Elon Musk, and it's like, oh, that seems mild. Then you look at the article and it's like, no, they didn't just praise Elon Musk. They endorsed his business models. And also her works talked about like masters marrying their slaves as a positive. Like, oh, maybe you should have led with that one. And the editor of the publisher was like, yeah, maybe remove these. We don't like these texts in your book that we're publishing, that we are putting out there in the world. And the author refused, and then met with controversy. And the publisher was like, see, we told you to remove them, but no, he didn't listen. Now we're going to take the book back and remove these parts of the book that we found offensive in the first place, and then republish it. And you have to hope no one gets mad at you for the controversy. And she left those details out for some strange reason. I can't imagine why.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so her sources,
so a lot of it is
heavily misleads.
Yeah, and a lot of these websites are broken.
Yeah,
and then you've
too.
Oh boy, this is one of her sources, folks. Okay. Right.
What is the source? Unfortunately, your stream on my end, I can't see. I can only hear.
What? It's not. That's weird.
It's because my connection. It's not you. It's just my.
Okay.
My
it's Chris Ferguson's psychology homepage.
Just the homepage.
Yeah, and looks like a fucking 2004 GeoCities page.
Yeah, that tracks. That definitely tracks.
How Mandas Shape History, Suicide Kings, my academic publications. Yeah, this guy's full of shit. This doesn't look.
Yep.
If there is if he's like, yeah, here's all my. Okay.
Here's my source.
Yeah, here's my source, and it's all. And you can only access through. I doubt that she paid. She probably read the abstract. Because a lot of these are paid access.
Yeah. Okay. Now I've caught up, and now I'm staring. Oh God, that hurts. And the thing is, she has been known to go through college. In the first video I saw of her, she went through a bunch of college papers, posted the title page of college essays, which, by the way, reveals what college they went to, their name, their telephone number, etc., email address, on her video, to say, oh, these videos talk about this one topic. And I read through all of them. And I'm like, no, they don't say that, actually. They're all very specific, very different articles, actually. So I think sometimes she just reads the idea and assumes she knows what the rest of it says.
Yeah, so most of the things that she's citing is about video games and how they don't cause violence. I'm not really seeing a lot of... And there was one thing that was 1947 called a landmark study, describes the result of a fascinating experiment done on an elementary school student that measured aggressive behavior in relation to the realism of the violent media they had watched.
In the 40s.
No, 1974, not 19. I got
1974. Right. Okay, so at least we had actual violent media at that time. It wasn't like the Wolfman comes and chokes everyone and it cuts to black with a scream going on in the background.
Yeah. This is a similar experiment carried out on adults. 200 college students were shown violent fictional TV shows, and they were showed deliberately similar video clips of real events. The clips they were shown were explicitly marked as fictional and real. After they were assessed via a questionnaire regarding their anxiety, empathy, and aggression state, our results indicate that people responded with more empathy when they knew they were seeing scenes of actual violence with real people being harmed compared to when they were watching fictional scenes.
Yeah, so seeing Vietnam footage makes you feel more upset than watching a movie about Vietnam. Yeah.
Okay, so where is this? Okay, whereas I spoke about video examined at length the ways in which the average human acquired data about reality. Okay.
Yeah, and she's gonna probably reference all of this at some point in the video.
Well, it's just that she's not saying what her sources are, which is why I'm looking here. I do this on my atheist reacting to fucking weird Christian people, where it's if you actually look at the sources they're listing, it's usually bullshit. 2009 study examined the possibility that perceived realism would have an effect on the linking of television exposure and social judgment. Amazing. Okay.
She believes in cultivation theory. Okay, so she's going to argue cultivation theory, which, okay, of course she is.
And again, all of this is very easily solved by just being more educated.
Yeah.
Hence the lack of increased aggression with violent video games.
Sorry. Did you have anything else to say?
No, that was. I think I'll say it as we get to it. Because it's obviously going to be. She's going to bring up examples, and I can counteract those examples as she brings them up. I think.
Yeah.
Even if it's disturbing, even if a suspension of disbelief is present, our minds know it isn't real, so it doesn't register the same way real-world violence does. There have been studies done on children, that's a slightly uncomfortable sentence, in which these children were shown violent movies and their reactions were analyzed. If the violence was obviously fake, such as cartoons or that kind of Three Stooges obviously fake goofy violence, even if it was scary, it didn't have an effect on their behavior. If, however, the violence was more realistic, as in, for example, what you'd find in an episode of Game of Thrones, the kids couldn't clearly perceive that it wasn't real. These children then exhibited...
Hey, do you know what like a ratings guideline is? Like, the whole PG-13
Wait a second. Hang on. Play this clip for a second.
Increased aggression and violent tendencies. So our ability to perceive that the violence is fake is an important aspect. I know what you're going to say. What about desensitization?
It's almost like she's saying that if we know it's fake.
Isn't that the exact opposite of what the source we found on her site said? Where it said that...
Was it?
Well, I think the source that she cited said that it expressed emotional attachment to emotional response to violence.
That was a different the behavior. There was two different studies. There was one where saying that adults, it was a later study done in 2013 that said adults, regardless of how realistic the empathy, it was about if it was real or not, they would feel bad if, it was explicitly adults that if they knew that it was like, oh yeah, this is real violence, they would feel worse than if it was fake violence, regardless of how realistic it looked. However, when the experiment was done on kids in 1974, the more realistic the violence was, the more aggressive they behaved. So obviously there's a difference between the brain of a child and the brain of an adult. Okay?
Yeah.
Firstly, and secondly, again, the whole education part is really, really important, and the context in which we consume things is important. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So the aggressive cartoons fail to disinhibit aggressive behavior. Okay, that's what I misread. Okay, I misread that. The emotional impact of cartoon violence measured by galvanic skin response. Galvanic. Okay, so here's something important.
Mm-hmm.
So they use galvanic skin response to measure the difference in response to realistic violence versus cartoon violence. So like there's no exhibit there on behavior. It's just like physical response to it.
Yeah, and I think, and I've argued this in my video that you can find on my channel after the stream, that fiction is a safe place to explore uncomfortable feelings. So having those feelings isn't harmful. We probably hear therapy types always say this: all emotions are valid. That's because like feelings can't hurt you. They can't hurt anyone. How you deal with those feelings is what makes the difference. And if you read a lot of books that are constantly challenging you and your emotional response, you get used to having those feelings in a safe environment. So if you encounter them in the real world, you already have like an opinion and like how to deal with difficult feelings as they come up, because you've already done it in a safe space before. That's why psychologists will get couples to role play or whatever. I would
so I'm actually reading through the article right now.
Yeah.
The films used were The Three Stooges, Mighty Mouse, a narrator talking about types of music, and the birth of the earth and first living creatures.
Wow.
There is no actual like Game of Thrones violence in this study.
Yeah, amazing.
So Crazy. It was either a nature documentary, a discussion about music like Fantasia, The Stooges, or Mighty Mouse.
Wow.
So even in the very first study she cited, if you look at what she linked on her website, there is nothing like Game of Thrones in that.
I'm glad that you...
they might just show like fucking The Godfather, having someone get shot up in that. Also, it was 15-minute segments. They were each shown 15-minute segments, and they weren't even showing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to do this checking on a stream, so I'm glad you're able to do that. But like I said, whenever you encounter a video like this that is claiming that there's a bunch of sources to back up their arguments, look up the sources.
Exactly.
That's always really important. Just want to read some super chats. Thank you for the super chat, Zephyr, for $2. We still bringing up Columbine in 2026? Seriously? Yeah, but like technically her argument was fine.
Yeah,
it's just
that made sense in context.
She's going in the wrong direction afterwards. Nick Wolf, thank you for the $5 super chat. Since last year, I've been reading more books. I liked Wicked, but need to listen to the audiobook because I only had 3 weeks to read /rush on Libby app. Yeah, it's I have read it multiple times since I read it the first time when I was 16. It is a dense book. There's a lot going on. I get something new out of Wicked every time I read it. It's a very rewarding book that way. Anyway, anything else from you, Anthony, before I press play again?
No, I think I said my piece on the article not making any fucking sense, but go for it.
I think you remember how Illuminati would
Yep.
just write things and then find things that are kind of vaguely related to the topic she's talking about so that it would seem like she was citing sources, but she wasn't really. I think that's what happened. Or she just
stole the entire text from it wholesale. Yeah. I recall that.
I kind of think that's what Hillary is doing here. And the thing is that I've done this for essays when I was 14, where I wrote an essay, I formed my opinions, it was all finished, and then I assumed my teacher wasn't going to read my bibliography and check every source. They just wanted to see that my bibliography was organized the way it was supposed to be, and it was. So, and I think that's kind of what Hillary is doing, is she's not expecting people to actually look at the studies. She's just saying things and then hoping that just by virtue of there being a bibliography, that she has her bases covered. And they also think that's why it's not linked to, the articles are not linked directly in the description, and why it's on her page instead. It's to make it a little bit less accessible.
Anyway. And by the way, I'm going to send you a screenshot to prove to you that I'm not making this up. Here is a screenshot from the article in the PDF that she cited in question. Now you can cite the page number so you can see it. This is here. You can post it on screen if you want.
Oh, is my microphone fucky?
There's moments where it's a little funky, but not consistently.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be a little less funky about it.
Okay. Here's the screenshot I just sent you. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. By the way, the aggressive example apparently was instrumental aggression with Mighty Mouse fighting cats. That's the Game of Thrones violence, the Mighty Mouse cartoon. So if you put that on screen, you can all see that. 4
types of films were used. 1, treatment aggressive, real life. 2, treatment aggressive, cartoons. Control, non-aggressive, and test film. Total exposure time for each type of film was approximately 15 minutes. The real-life aggressive film portrayed numerous sequences of physical and verbal aggression amongst the 3 main characters, the Three Stooges. So it's not real life, it's just live action. Typical acts of physical aggression included slapping, pushing, and verbal threats. The aggressive cartoons depicted a continuous barrage of instrumental aggression between Mighty Mouse and cats in one case and wolves in the other. In the non-aggressive film, a narrator, with the aid of an animated human character, explained several varieties of music and the musical instruments involved in each type. This film was specifically designed for children and, like each of the preceding, was in black and white. The test film depicted the birth of the Earth and its first living creatures. Previous research with this film had shown that children were strongly attracted by the bright flashing colors.
Yeah. So do you see Game of Thrones on there anywhere or anything like Game of Thrones? The soft examples that she described were the extreme examples in the study. 3 Stooges. 3 fucking Stooges. That was the intensity. That's how bad we got. 3 Stooges is shown to children. Kids can watch the 3. My son has watched the 3 Stooges. I have made sure I've raised my son on a healthy diet of cinema.
All right, I am gonna hit play.
There we go.
We'll get into that later. When we watch a well-made movie with graphic violence that absolutely looks real, it might turn our stomachs, but we know in the back of our mind that that actor didn't actually get disemboweled. So after the movie's over, we don't really think about it anymore. Not because we're heartless, but because we never thought it was real or genuinely sad and tragic to begin with. It was all pretend. There's pictures of that guy wearing a $4,000 suit on the red carpet a year later. We know this. And even if we cried because we were into the story, we knew it wasn't real. There's a visceral and neurological difference between watching that actor get hanged and drawn in Netflix's Robert the Bruce biopic and then looking at grainy black and white photos of Yukio Mishima committing seppuku. Because you know that only one of those sets of images is presenting actual reality. That knowledge changes your perception and therefore changes the impact it has on your mind. Briefly now, let's talk about that 4-letter word, the one I accidentally renamed NORP a few videos ago. Visual.
Okay. So here we go. We're going from violence to sexuality. Any predictions, Anthony?
I suspect that the moment that she brings up that sex is normalized in media and be self-indulgent, that she's going to do some wanky bullshit where it's going to be like, actually, overexposure to sex makes you a predator, which is, no. She's going to talk about how porn is degrades your perspective, because she always emphasizes how self-indulgent media reinforces your previous belief systems. What she's going to end up saying, and I'm predicting this now, again, going in blind, that the self-indulgent stuff forces you to not be confronted with new ideas. Therefore, it reinforces like reflecting the same image through a mirror 100 times, makes the image more and more, like shady and obscure and bleak, I think.
I mean, Anthony, you know what? Yowie did turn me trans, so.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. It did make it did trans your gender, so
yeah, it
sense.
did. Yeah, that and like the Treasure Planet trans my gender. So you know,
in fairness, Treasure Planet usually either I think is responsible for like 80% of trans men between a certain age.
Yeah.
That or that or people becoming pirates. One of the two.
Yeah.
They either became trans or they wanted to become pirates. Or
Reanimator, I think, is also probably did something too. Probably, I don't know.
That too. Or it made you like seek out a father figure in the worst possible places.
Honestly, Rick Moranis types are basically responsible for a huge swaths of trans guys. We should kill Rick Moranis, actually.
He is a Canadian treasure. How dare? Why am I a Canadian treasure?
I love Rick Moranis. I might have a weird little crush on him, kind of. But it's one of those, like, I don't know if I want to be him or if I want, probably be him because, like, once it becomes real, I'm no longer interested. Anyway.
He just seems like a cool guy in general.
He does.
Like, everything I've heard about him.
Anyway, I'm going to continue pressing play. And while we're doing that, I'm going to try to fix my microphone. So.
Yeah.
Live action adult content is unsimulated. It's real. That's not CGI. That's actually happening. Even when there's violence, even when the actors are bleeding or crying or their bodies are struck resulting in red welts, it's real, more or less. We know all of that is actually real and happening. Therefore, our minds perceive it entirely differently. There are many surveys and analyses that have been done that have shown that increased NORP watching is more closely related to increases in violence and aggression than video games ever were, in large part because it's real.
Hang on. That's a nice argument, Senator, but how would you back it up with a source? Yeah. Yeah, I'm scrolling through her article right now. I can't see any link about porn causing increased violence. And trust me, I am looking. Cultivation theory, I'm seeing a lot of arguments about, but like Lord of the Flies, I'm seeing them mention about it. Not like friggin' porn.
How does my audio sound?
Oh,
now?
wait.
Anthony's
hang on.
Not going to hear the difference, but I haven't changed.
Wait a second. There is an article here. There are a couple articles about smut. Okay. She is the most condescending way possible. So, okay. Let's take a look right here. Okay. Let me scroll this through real quickly. Okay. So, even her descriptions of these don't actually.
While you're reading through that, I'm gonna read a couple super chats. I think
you do that.
One. Yeah. No, there's a couple. Rune Dillon for $20 says NORP. Good use of $20. You sure are exhibiting free will, Dylan. Thank you. Nick Wolf says, I wish Princess Mononoke was part of the sample show to these kids. I watched Princess Mononoke at 7 years old and barely knew how to handle it. Yeah, but it was like 1974. Princess Mononoke didn't exist yet, but Princess Mononoke was so good.
Such a good movie. Okay, so here is interesting. There is no article that she cites about anything involving sex making you more violent. There are articles here that argue that some men who consume porn on a regular basis are less interested in real women. That people who regularly watch sexually explicit material may want to reenact some of the fantasies presented on screen with real life partners. But that's mainly focused on hair pulling and bondage. There is an article that she cites about.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, the thing you like seeing is fun. There's one article here that argues that there is an. Okay, so again, they're talking about common porn studies. Okay, this is one that's interesting. So there's one article that she frames it like this. In a rare study on the minds of women who consume pornography. Sorry. Hang on, that's not spelled correctly. In a rare study on the minds of women who consume pornography, found that that's all wrong. Contrary to expectations, women who consumed porn did not respond by developing "quote unquote" empowering sexual behavior, but rather they became more submissive. I won't detail the nature of this submissive sexual behavior, but suffice this to say, it is violent, humiliating, and degrading. The younger the woman was when she started to consume porn, the greater the effect. I'm now going to read the abstract of the article that she cites with this statement. So I want you, Krim, I want you to listen to hear if you guys see any difference between how she described the article versus how the abstract describes the article. The study found that German heterosexual women's personal and partnered consumption of pornography were positively correlated with their desire to engage in or having previously engaged in submissive but not dominant sexual behaviors such as having hair pulled, having faces creamed on, being spanked, choked, called names, slapped, and gagged. The association between women's partnered smut consumption and submissive sexual behavior was strongest for women whose first exposure to porn was at a young age. The findings also indicated that women's personal and partnered porn consumption were uniquely related to their engagement in submissive sexual behavior. At no point, though, did they mention anything about the opposite of that. So that article focused exclusively on correlating certain consumption with certain behavior.
Okay.
There is no control to show if they got more "quote unquote" empowering behavior. Okay. They just were looking for specific behaviors in question.
All right. So I'm gonna have a question. I have a question for all of you, for you and the audience. Do you what do you think is more harmful? Somebody coming on your face, jizzing all over your face, or women thinking that the only option they have is getting married young and having lots of babies and being subservient to a man and never having dreams or goals or aspirations of their own. Which one do you think is more harmful to women?
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, somebody coming on your face isn't going to fucking kill you. Kink isn't going to kill you. Fucking getting if you're like, ooh, slap me around a little bit, like you're fine. But if you're somebody that like it's none of your business, bruh. Like shut the fuck up. Like nobody's getting hurt by getting fucking bukkake. Like be fucking serious right now. I think that also being like, I'm not gonna say what it is because like she doesn't want to admit out loud how ridiculous she's being. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? Some women like it when men jerk off on their face. Okay. So really, we are fucking failing as a society. Like, be so fucking for real. Oh
Krim,
my god.
Krim, I've actually done a little more studying this on this study. Do you know how many people they asked?
Oh,
asked,
is it better? Is it under 20?
So they asked 392 heterosexual women only.
Uh-huh.
A slight majority were college students. I think 70% reported being in a romantic relationship.
Do
30% said
not
they were
clip
not.
me, by the way. Do not
What?
fucking clip me, you fucking assholes.
Okay. What? I'm not even sure.
They're making fun of me for the comment
Oh.
on your face. Just jizz
So-
all over it. Don't fucking clip me.
So basically, what they did was they asked them, "Hey, which of these behaviors would you like to try?"
Not even that they did, but what they would like to try.
Yeah. By the way, the vast majority of these people have never tried or had no desire to try even a fraction of them. So the highest percentage here. So basically the biggest thing was tying up partners. In fact, actually what's funny is the dominant behavior was slightly higher in some cases. So like have tried, did try this, none of these are particularly like startling statistics. Like, do you think more people like looking at these numbers, it's very negligible.
Okay, Anthony, with all the love in my heart, you are conceding the point to her.
That's the problem, though, right there. It's like this doesn't prove anything. That's the thing. It's like this doesn't prove anything.
But the thing is that it's a moot point anyway. Why are we having this discussion?
Yeah, but like even her studies doesn't make any sense. It's just none of this actually correlates with anything.
Yeah, but you're still giving her the point that like, yeah, I guess it would be kind of bad if more people are coming on women's faces these days.
Yeah, but like who cares? Like, none of this matters.
None of this fucking matters. Who fucking cares?
And none of this proves her argument at the end. It's all like the thing is what's so frustrating about this is that looking at the study, none of this proves what she's talking about. It's all like just on its own. A case study of 300 college students asking them, hey, what do you like to do? Doesn't actually prove that on a wide scale level.
Are you also saying that young people that are very hormonal but also are not old enough to be very confident in themselves tend to be more submissive? What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Also, this was the 90s where a very different the 90s in Germany.
Yeah.
So it's like a little different in terms of what was acceptable at the time.
Yeah.
Let me make sure it's the 90s actually before I go. Okay, no. It appears it was a little more recent than that. I'm sorry. This was published. No, it's not 90s. I'm mixing things up. Oh, 2017. My apologies. Not 90s at all. So 2017. Also, it's Germany, specific country, and only heterosexual German women.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so just gonna respond to a couple super chats. Nick Wolf says this video is brought to you by NordVPN. No, it is not.
No, it's
not. Thank you for the $10
NordVPN.
the $10 super chat, Shane. Treasure Planet turned me into a pirate and turned my friend into a trans pirate. Perfect, amazing, goal achieved. The gay agenda is operating as intended.
Yeah. I think the point is the study actually does not prove what you just said.
Yeah.
Is the ultimate point. It just goes off on a different tangent about a different, very specific thing, and doesn't actually prove what she's talking about.
And even if it did, men coming on women's faces is not the fucking end of the world. Let's be so for real right now.
Well, I think the bigger thing is that she believes that women embracing things that they enjoy is harmful and destructive.
Yeah. God forbid women have hobbies such as getting cum on their face.
Yeah. Like the problem is all of this is like implies that women having specific fantasies that are submissive is inherently destructive, which is interesting because I thought the idea of feminism was allowing women to choose what they want to do. And if a woman chooses that she enjoys enthusiastically, consensually, with a loving partner.
Does it happen in a vacuum? No, like let's not do choice feminism too much. It doesn't happen in a vacuum, obviously, but again, we have so many bigger fish to fry than cum on people's faces. Like, again, like trad wives,
destructive behavior. Yeah,
like trad wives are way more destructive than fucking jizz on face. Sorry that I keep on being so crass, but like I just need people to understand how ridiculous this is.
It's really dumb, like because it's like you're going down this rabbit hole to check her sources, And when you come right back to you, like, wait a second, does any of this actually prove that consuming porn makes you a destructive, terrible person that affects your personal life? No, it doesn't.
All right, I'm pressing play.
Go for it.
NORP, you might ask. We'll get to that, I promise. But for right now, just to get this out of the way, it's important to understand that any content of any kind that we take into our minds has an effect on us. But the reason violence doesn't cause violence is because the human mind perceives it to be fake. Perceptibly real violence causes an increase in aggression in children and adults. If it's known to be fake, the effect is basically null. Sources in abundance in the linked article on my website.
As we just proved, that is not what her sources say.
Now that we've talked about the difference between real and fake, let's talk about truth and falsehoods. Fiction is something that's always to some. The first is the fact that what we perceive to be fake, that is, fictional stories, will still nevertheless inform our perception of reality. The second area is...
My perception of you is that you're an idiot, so I guess fiction is fucking affecting reality.
I guess my problem is I don't think you can cite sources correctly, Hillary. So that's my that's my truth.
She's a writer,
my
though,
truth
you know.
here.
She's a writer.
She's a writer.
Professional.
Yeah, she's a writer.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
She's a writer. She doesn't even know how to cite sources. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe going to college.
A 1992 article in the Journal of Communications says this: an actor playing a doctor on television isn't a real doctor, but people may perceive him or her as providing information about doctors. Now, when we...
And again, an education will quickly fix that.
Okay, I will cite something in Hillary's defense.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple people who have claimed, who are actors on the show Law and Order. There are many actors who have claimed that real life cops claim that they learned how to be cops from watching Law and Order because they weren't trained in police academy to do the things they're required to do. But Law and Order does it.
But that's because of a lack of education.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And even then, Law and Order, like, actually, we don't even know if what we're saying is accurate.
Somebody said that the sound cut out, but it doesn't look. It might be you, might be the guy, because it looks like it's being read on my end.
Yeah. But
oh wait, are people not hearing something? Hello. I don't think so. Nobody else is reacting to it, so I think it's just
I think you're good. It might have been like a internet.
Receive information about reality. Some is unmediated. That is, we get it ourselves by, say, witnessing it personally, or it's mediated, which means someone has told us about it, such as, for instance, news and stories. According to a lot of academic research and analyses, the average human's basis for reality, as they understand it, is composed largely of mediated sources. That is, most of what we know about reality is based on what we have been told. As we have all become more and more isolated from each other and from, the touching of grass with social media and COVID and 100 other modern problems, the percentage of what we know and use to build our perception of...
Hang on, wait a second. I'm a little confused here. So wait a second. She's arguing that the further from the internet we go, the more mediated our sources are.
No, I don't think so.
Did you just say, like, because we're not touching grass and talking to people, that we're getting a more limited perspective of different opinions?
I guess.
But, like, wouldn't the argument be made that interacting with people outside your social circle might actually allow you to be integrating with more opinions that are contrary to your own? Like, I keep thinking, like, maybe now with the argument of the algorithm putting you down the alt-right pipeline, that's one argument, right? That the internet is keeping you trapped in a certain location.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'd argue that a lot of social justice movements in the last 20 years only happened as effectively as they did because the internet has allowed communication so effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about all of the different, like, back in the day.
Like those. She's a conservative, so.
That's true. Yeah, how dare we get information from different sources that we would not normally hear from? Like, I'll tell you this, as a white person living in New Jersey, I probably wouldn't have heard about, like, things happening in the in cities where, like, there's a hate crime that happens. You wouldn't see it, you wouldn't hear about it. You might get, like, a filtered, mediated version from, like, the people who have an agenda to spread, but right now you can get the footage of it, you can see accurately what happened. Like, there's a lot of resources available to help communicate accurate information at a wider level that can challenge the mediated narratives that people with agendas might try spreading.
Yep.
So it's like, that seems contradictory.
Someone is saying, Raccoon is saying, wait, is she conflating news media with fictional media simply because they both fall under the term media? Oh, Raccoon, her favorite hobby is conflating things that aren't really related. That's her favorite thing to do.
She just told us that a study
She's been doing it the whole entire fucking video.
Yeah. She told us that a study showing comparing Three Stooges to nature documentaries was like comparing Three Stooges to Game of Thrones. Like, she's making shit up as she goes along.
Yeah.
Reality is increasingly mediated. So, like it or not, our perception of reality is more and more at the mercy of other people, many of whom are faceless strangers. A quote from that research paper states, "A television program about a detective may include information about male-female relationships, power dynamics, violent behavior, verbal and nonverbal communication, geography, economics, and a whole range of human behaviors." This hypothetical television program, or, any of an assortment of real television programs, might not and often...
Okay, but this isn't books. We're not talking.
In fact,
we're not talking about books right now.
Yeah, not to mention, like, I think back to like Chinua Achebe with Things Fall Apart. He wrote that work to counterbalance the mediated idea of Africa as the dark continent, as this savage land that was colonized by the white man's burden. So right there, we have an example of fiction challenging a predominant colonial narrative that was reinforced with fiction. So right there, yeah, fiction can be a mediated source that influences your worldview, but not in the way you're describing. That's the thing. No one's arguing that media can't influence your worldview if it presents a narrative that's compelling or challenging or reinforcing what you already think. The problem is you're saying smut does it.
And smut turns you into a sexual predator.
Yeah, that's the specific argument we're having here. We're not arguing that media can't influence your worldview. Obviously, it can if consumed within the right headspace. The problem is what you're saying it does.
Yeah,
it's not
that by
what you're saying, it's how.
By virtue of reading a book, it will fundamentally change you on, like, it changes what you are on, like, a more base level. It can create a predator where there was none before.
Exactly.
That's just, that doesn't happen.
Exactly. Like, the reason we're arguing with you is because you said that reading AO3 fanfiction can make you a pedophile. You specifically said that in your fanfiction video multiple times. That is the point I'm arguing.
And yeah, that's the point I'm arguing too. It just doesn't fucking happen. I'm going to continue to play.
Yeah.
All right, getting these kinds of facts correct. Sure, we all know that procedures on TV might be different from reality, but think about the other things he mentioned. Male-female relationships, power dynamics, geography, economics, violent behavior. Like, violent video games causing aggression. We so often forget that the TV or...
But I thought you said the violent... What?
Yeah, wait a second. What are you talking about? Just yourself there.
Do violent video games cause violence, or don't they?
Yeah, she's taking a mile out of a couple sentences there. Like, oh yeah, this worldview can affect your behavior. Like, playing games can make you violent. Like, the problem is you're conflating these different things and you don't have a specific baseline for it. And you don't have specifics in the studies you're citing about the methodology they're using to find these conclusions. You're just assuming the conclusions make sense. Like, if you say this survey says this one thing, but your survey's methodology said, oh, we asked 100 people about what they felt about sex, and you say that's proof that porn causes sex behavior to change, that's not enough evidence. Sorry.
Press and play. Also, apparently multiple people are having audio issues. I think it might be a YouTube thing. Just refresh the page.
Yeah.
Netflix or social media or romantasy novel number 351 are presenting ideas about reality that might be and often are completely different from actual reality in those areas. And so when we watch and read these things, a lot of people take this stuff for granted and they don't even realize it. And slowly, it builds their perception of real world reality. How? Television has for years been a major focal point of this area of study. Even as far back as the 1950s, when researchers were studying the effects of propaganda, there was major concern regarding how people knew what was real and what wasn't. All right, so quick brass tacks here. With reality construction...
Hold on, Again? This is about reading, supposedly.
Yeah, and like propaganda can influence your behavior, absolutely. But the problem is you're conflating propaganda with smut consumption.
Yup. Okay.
That's the issue.
Dude, we are 13 minutes into this video, and it's fucking like 9:30.
We may have to break this up into multiple viewings. I'm down for that.
We might have to. All right,
Yeah, sorry. There's
It's
so much
okay.
Construction in the
bullshit per
mind, we have
minute.
two separate processes: construction and reconstruction. Construction happens when we receive the input, so to speak, when we watch the movie or the news show, or when we read the book or the blog post or the tweet or whatever. Reconstruction happens later, but construction is more or less the act of, to use the popular term, consuming the media and then storing it in the memory. If you've ever ventured into the fascinating philosophical world of phenomenology, then you've heard people talk about how a huge part of how we perceive reality is based on the state we were in when we constructed.
Yeah.
Phenomenology? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me look this up. Phenomenology. Okay. Phenomenology is a philosophical study a movement largely associated with the early 20th century that seeks to objectively investigate the nature of subjective consciousness and will disclosure.
It's just fucking Freudian shit, isn't it?
It's Freudian shit, yeah. So
Oh my
it's not even Freudian because that's psychological. This is philosophical. It's even more divided
Abstract
and very
and removed from
it's
reality.
very abstract, and it's like it's a legitimate like analysis, but it's not like it's not a very it's all like kind of like, oh, you know, transcendentalism and conceptions of
I sentence you, Hillary Lane, to 1 million years reading Carl Jung. Get the fuck out of here.
yeah. It's the idea of like, oh, so it's like transcendental consciousness, naturalistic consciousness, like how your consciousness is divided of things of nature, how we derive meaning through historical comparison, genetic understanding. It's all very, it's not, it's actually, honestly, a lot of this appears to be stuff that's become
fake.
well, I think the problem is a lot of it's baked into how we perceive reality today. Like, it's the stuff we built into our media. None of this seems, but it's all like older. It's early 20th century, but it's stuff that like we now discuss in existential philosophy. Like, it's a precursor to that, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's all stuff you've seen in media 1,000 times, just under different names.
Okay.
None of it's particularly it's basically like someone discovering like Freud for the first time and going like, did you know that like some people maybe have odd relationships with their parents? Like, yeah, I do actually.
I'm getting read a lot of Ayn Rand as a teenager from her.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that, like, yeah, it's the basis of a lot of other stuff, but it's not like things built off of it. You know, we've
homeschooled behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Never gone to college behavior. Anyway.
Yeah.
It in our minds. That is when we first received the images and messages and then stored them in our memory. Not reality itself, but our perception of it. This is, I've said this 1,000 times, reality is objective. Our perception of reality can be very subjective, depending on 1,000 different factors, even if objective reality is fixed. A really rudimentary example of what I'm talking about.
It's really funny. It's really funny, actually.
Of reality. When you remember your first grade classroom, you remember it being really big, because at that time you were really small and you were kind of trapped there, or you were at least under someone's strict authority. If you were to go back,
wow, deep thoughts here, Hillary.
You would see that it's actually pretty small. Think of this with emotional state, periphery knowledge, other matters that might have been going on when you took in the images and message.
So, what do you think happens if I go and I watch, I don't know. What's one of the ones that she hates? Game of Thrones. Sure, if I go and I watch Game of Thrones, and then maybe I'm feeling certain ways when I am immediately reading Game of Thrones. What do you think happens after I put the book down and I start thinking about how Game of Thrones made me feel? It's the same as going back to that classroom and being like, huh, wow, all the chairs are really small. You know? And here's the thing, Hillary. Everybody learned to do that when we went to fucking public school. That's what fucking book reports are for, you fucking idiot. Like, that's just that is fucking grade 5 English of like, hey, you read this book and it made you feel some things. Why do you think it made you feel those things? And what do you think the book was trying to say? What was the author's intention? Like, I was doing this before I was in double digits, Hillary. Come on now.
But Krim, did you know that if you go back to your classroom when you were in fucking middle school, the room's slightly bigger or smaller, depending?
Yeah, the book looks smaller if you fucking go back because they
renovated your school and they added space on.
Sorry for doing the fucking ASMR mic lean, but I just like Hillary. Like, you are not the only person when they read a book to think about the book that they read. Your theory of mind is dog shit.
Also, is all this would be solved if she just read To Kill a Mockingbird, which is all about a young girl who realizes her idyllic hometown isn't as idyllic as she thinks it is.
I don't know.
And also, none of this actually has any bearing on the German study of women who want their hair pulled or want their cream cheese bagel to be spread in their face.
Yeah. That's exactly what that's referring to, Aunt.
Yeah. But it is. She's correlating it as a part of her big argument. These are all bricks for the same wall.
Yeah. Did you know that nobody thinks about the books they read except for Hillary Lane? I know. Only Hillary Lane. Hillary Lane is the only woman on the internet that thinks about things that she reads.
You know, when I was watching
she's bearing this burden. Yeah, I actually do believe that that there's going to be giant like kaiju dressed up like robots that are going to, I don't know.
And Evangelion, that's true.
That's a real thing. That's true. It's true. It's going to happen.
I wanted to pilot a giant robot after watching. Actually, I did want to pilot a giant robot after watching Evangelion. That's fair, but still, I was very disappointed they don't have giant robots yet that you can pilot.
I mean, like, maybe Krim wants a holodeck. I guess fiction does affect reality.
Yeah,
I really want a holodeck.
Fair. You know, Hillary might be right about a few things. If she clocked you too, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. All right, I'm pressing play.
All of this colors the construction, that is the initial taking in of the images and or message and storing them in your memory. This is why literature students used to be trained and conditioned to try to remove as much of themselves as possible when they were reading a text, because everything about you colors the initial construction of the text in your mind. This is why most literature students now are hopeless when they read a text, because they've been conditioned to do so solely with their emotions and or with a specific predetermined set of parameters for interpretation. Their construction is much...
This is a lot of words come from somebody that was fucking homeschooled and never went to college. Good
I do
Lord.
think the pause screen is perfect where it is right now, though. I think no, but it's really
me off.
It's like, you know, nowadays students think and feel when they read books. That's wrong. That's bad because
somebody might want somebody to come on their face if they feel things when they read books.
Yeah. It's not right for a woman to read. First she gets ideas, then thinking.
Too flawed. So after this initial construction, after we've taken the message and the images, it has been encoded and stored in our memory. When we want to re-access it, we reconstruct it from the encoded memory file, so to speak. So the state we were in and the way in which we received the message directly affects the way it was stored and encoded. So already right out of the gate, it needs to be clear. When you watch a movie or read a book, and then that movie or book drops information on you, say, about the price of gas in Ireland in the 1980s, or the state of gender relations in Texas in the 1990s, things with which you are not directly personally familiar, your brain is, first of all, not automatically going to reject that information as false or, fictional. Studies have found that if we don't know about the thing, our minds are more likely to accept the information as true. Later, when, say, someone asks you about gender relations in the 90s in Texas, you will reconstruct information from various sources in your memory, and there's an extremely high chance that among those sources will be that movie or book. That fictional information will simply be part of your understanding of reality of 1990s Texas. You might not even remember, especially if you didn't encode it specifically, that information came from a fictional.
So, I need a break. So I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
So,
okay. Let's hear it.
You know me, Quimston.
I know you.
I like anime a little bit.
You like anime?
I like anime.
I thought you like Kingdom Hearts a lot too.
I do like Kingdom Hearts. I like a lot of Japanese media, as it turns out. And
interesting.
As a teenager, I had a very specific opinion informed of Japan, as most teenage opinions of anime do. And then a few years later, I realized I don't know shit from fuck. So I did some research and I learned what Japan is actually like. And it is now a point of interest in me because, I engage with so much Japanese media. You know what would be a good idea? I should learn Japanese. So that's what I'm doing. I started the beginning of the year and I've been learning Japanese for 3 months. And, it takes you about 2 or 3 years to master a new language. So that's what I'm doing. So me interacting with a piece of media, not only did that not cause me to permanently have the wrong opinion of an entire country and people, I deliberately went out of my way to research and educate myself better. And because of my initial interest in this media, I am now learning an entire language.
Exactly.
So it's almost like it's like, yes, your opinions can be formed by fiction, but fiction can also inspire you to educate yourself. I know Hillary can't relate to this because she's very uneducated. So sorry, Hillary. We don't mean to alienate you, but
No. I have an important question though. I think it's very important here, Krim. I think it's very relevant to everything discussed here. How far in the video are we right now?
16 minutes and 37
About
seconds.
16 minutes, right? Okay. What the fuck has she actually said? Like, really, what has she actually meaningfully said so far?
She has said that violent video games do not cause violent people. She has said that there has apparently been studies, allegedly, that say that women that watch kinky porn like it when people come on their face.
Okay.
And that's
almost
about it.
nothing else, right?
Yeah. That's about it. That's about it.
Right. Okay. Just to make sure I also wasn't alone in the camp of, wait, has she actually said anything meaningful yet? In 16. Listen, I don't want to pretend that you have to make your point immediately. Like, we both yap.
Yeah,
we
we're
both
yappers.
talk a lot. We're yappers. We talk. We chat. But I think even in a free form, unedited, unrefined babble, we've come to the point, many points in fact, way faster than anything she's actually said in 16 minutes of this video, which, by the way, equates to about 25% of her whole video.
The thing is that we've spoken more about her argument and like the details behind it and things that she could argue than she has. So.
Right. In a faster package. Like, she's just saying shit and she's repeating the same shit.
Yeah, she's repeating herself a lot.
Like, it's all cycling.
I'm going to
to
challenge us. I am not going to pause until she mentions a new concept or information. So she's just repeating. We're not gonna pause, but only if she presents new information.
Yeah,
source.
Something new
it will
that's
simply
different.
be real world information you have in your brain. By the way, this doesn't mean you're stupid. This is just how our minds work. Everything we take in throughout our lives builds up our mind's storehouse of memory files, which we can then access when we need a solution to a problem or an answer to a question. Everything we take in, including and especially fiction. Even if the factual information in the fictional media is inaccurate, the brain still tends to store it with all the rest of the factual information and then uses it to build its perception of reality. The idea that television, literature, or other forms of fictional storytelling can alter a human mind is sometimes referred to as cultivation. And there's a lot of debate about it for obvious reasons. A lot of research has been done over the years, and this is what seems to be more or less generally agreed upon. First, the mass media are used to develop attitudes toward reality. So the science shows us, like it or not, that fictional media, among other types, does inform our perception of reality. Second, media experiences may accumulate over time and influence reconstruction in a variety of ways. This touches a little on the idea of repetition, which we are going to get into in a minute here. Third, mediated information with which the individual has had little or no direct contact and thus no clear method of evaluating are the most likely to influence reconstruction. That is, if you don't personally have experience with the subject, so if you're not a nurse or doctor and you're watching a medical drama, for instance, it's more likely to be used by your mind to build your idea of medical reality. Fourth, a story presented within a generally familiar context is especially likely to be used in reconstruction. It has been found that the closer the depiction is to real life, or the more closely we can identify with it, the more we use it to build our understanding of real life. Related to this, the more we self-insert into and identify with a character in the story, the more this effect is increased. So in those cases, even a fantasy story will be deemed.
So I did a little digging while she was talking. So in 1997, there was a 2-decade-long study on cultivation research. It was published by Michael Morgan and James Shanahan in the Annals of International Communication Associations, whatever, yearbook. So they did a 20-year study on cultivation theory. I just sent you a link. You can post it if you want in chat, so they can check what I'm saying. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm having a hard time opening up everything. But basically, they found that intense television watching had an impact, but a small one, on how you perceive the world. By the way, that means the act of television watching itself. There seems to be very little effect outside of the controlled variables in life.
Yeah.
There's no evidence it causes fear of violence or violence itself. And usually it's fixed by touching grass.
Yep. So it's not what they're watching, it's how much they're watching.
Exactly. It's quantity over. They found that quantity was the biggest impact rather than what specifically they're doing it. So, like, if all you did was watch TV all the time and you never left and touched grass and talked to a person, that could impact your behavior to a small degree.
In other news, water is wet. Yeah.
Exactly. So, cultivation theory is often cited as like, oh, it changed your behavior. But the big thing about cultivation theory is not what you're watching, it's how much of the same thing you're watching. Again, a well-rounded diet of media is the solution.
Good Lord.
You'd have to be the kind of person who, say, has Fox News on TV all the time and only Fox News to have the impact cultivation theory describes. It has to be the same thing relentlessly to have an impact.
Sorry if Ant's volume went quiet. I turned my computer volume down. I didn't think that would affect you guys. I thought it would just affect what was going into my brain, like what was going into my ears. But I guess it affects.
Sorry about that.
No, that was
repeat
me.
that one.
That was
okay. So I can repeat that. So basically, it's not what you watch; it's how much of the same thing you watch.
Mhm.
That's the gist of cultivation theory.
Yeah.
You have to watch a lot of the same thing repeatedly. Like, for example, your conservative relatives who have Fox News on 24/7.
Or Blue Bloods.
Theory,
yeah.
Exactly. Cultivation theory affects them more than, say, if you say read AO3 before bed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no comparison. It's quantity, not what you watch.
Or like I have a friend whose fucking grandparents are like watching Joe Rogan like all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where cultivation theory comes into play. It has to be the same thing constantly. It can't be like, and they mainly talk about it like fear of, like, let's say watching the news a lot and saying there's violence in the cities. Like, oh my God, there's violence in the cities. But then you go to the city and you realize nothing's going on, consistently.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Pressing play.
Close to real life in areas that are important to the reader, such as gender issues, sexuality, interpersonal relationships, power dynamics, and so
Waiting
forth.
for new
yes,
information
even if everyone
again, by
owns
the
a
way.
personal dragon
Yeah.
and can use magic.
Nothing
Finally,
new yet.
mediated communication is most likely to influence reconstruction when its original presentation was accompanied by stress or emotional excitement. This last point is important because it's a big reason why emotional investment in stories, which has become the most important factor in modern literary interpretation, is a key in capturing both the attention and intellectual vulnerability of your audience. Good writers will use emotion together with many other tools.
Let's back up a second here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what I was reading with cultivation theory, they were mainly talking about the news.
Yes, so she is correlating again, like the news and fiction.
Yeah. Like, this was taken. The study was done, I read, over 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big thing was the news becoming a bigger thing. Like, that was when news stations started to have like less restrictions. You had like CNN, Fox, all that stuff. Talk radio. So you got what's his name, the blowhard. What's his freaking name? I can't stand
Alex
him.
Jones?
No, older before him. 90s Red AIDS victims names a lot.
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Rush Limbaugh. There we go.
Yeah,
Rush Limbaugh. So, you got people like that constantly on the radio. You got televangelists constantly talking about doomsday and the time of reckoning is nigh. The 700 Club. That's what they were analyzing.
Okay. That's different.
Emotional excitement means you think this is real. It's a worldview being presented to you.
We've also established that people are less reactive towards media that they know is fake.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Through the studies Hillary provided herself.
Nick Wolf super chats and asks you, Ant, Hillary or Karen Bao, who wins the cage match?
Oh God, Karen Bao does not win the cage match. She's a tanky. She's very, very like condescending, but there's no comparison between her and Hillary Lane. There's no comparison. Also, she's published more books professionally, Karen Bao, as she informed us multiple times in her TikToks.
Also, Hillary Lane's homeschooled, so.
Yeah, no. Bao went to college. She went to freaking Harvard, apparently. So she's well educated. I just think that she's very short-sighted and very arrogant in her perspectives, and makes a lot of leaps in logic with her points. But it's different.
Pressing
Go
play,
for it.
and again, we're not going to pause unless we have new information.
Present the
Exactly.
themes or questions
Yeah.
they want to ask with the story. Poor writers will rely on emotion and shock to try to present a warped version of reality in a way they believe the audience will perceive to be true, or at least more salacious and exciting.
Sorry, okay. Oscar Wilde
Okay.
would fucking kill you.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that like Shirley Jackson does not pretend that her worlds are realistic, and she's one of the she's one of those horror writers I feel like Hillary Lane might have read. Shirley
Fucking,
Jackson. I feel like
oh
she
my
would,
god.
like she'd never read Clive Barker, forget it, but she's probably read Shirley Jackson. Like The Lottery's pretty important if it work of fiction.
And
Um,
oh no, how could I? I'm a failure.
Haunting of Hill House is another one. You know,
Well,
that's
I
a
was
major book.
I was the writer of Frankenstein.
Oh, Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley. Yes. Oh god,
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot her name. I'm a bad with names.
It's all
But,
good. Well,
yeah,
the
but
romantics in
Mary-
general.
Mary
cut you off there.
Shelley, Oscar Wilde, Shirley Jackson, all
Lord
fucking
Byron, Bram
rotating,
Stoker.
rotating
H.P. Lovecraft.
in their graves. She loves Lovecraft.
Does she love Lovecraft?
Yes, she does. She adores Lovecraft. I was reading on her blog.
Oh my god.
They're
I mean, granted-
rotating in their graves like
Yeah, that
rotisserie
tracks, actually.
chickens right now. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, like freaking, even if you want to go, I mean, again, Stephen King. I don't think Stephen King actually believes there's clowns in your freaking sewer drains who want to devour children.
Mhm.
Clive Barker wrote an entire short story about two villages in the English countryside
Wait, we need to.
that wrapped themselves in reeds and made them into giant colossi that punched each other in the face really hard. I don't think Clive Barker believed that was real. Or trying to be real.
I'm gonna press play again.
Okay, go for it.
And malicious writers will manipulate the emotions of their audiences to actively and deliberately alter their perceptions of and their opinions about reality.
Mhm.
You'll find studies done on marketing that have found that people are more likely to change their opinions or be
Oh my
swayed by what the ad is
God.
saying if they are angry or distressed. Similarly, people will respond well to ads that make them
Again,
laugh
this
or
is
otherwise place them in a heightened emotional state, and so on and so on. This is
It's
all
not
an
the
extremely complex area of
same.
study that is also very, very fascinating. And you can find a link to this article as well
aren't-
as others on the topic on my website.
These aren't
but the-
complex or fascinating. The idea of saying an advertising makes you pisses you off and makes you more likely to buy something. Yeah, it's like, oh hey, you can't clean the stains on your refrigerator with this cleaner. Buy my new extra expensive brand of detergent that does the exact same thing. That, as someone who works in marketing, that is ridiculous.
It's also like, again, not the same. An advertisement is not the same as a fan fiction on AO3. Girl, fucking
Exactly.
relax.
Exactly.
Fucking chill.
Bottom
Yeah.
line is that we as a society have acknowledged for over a century that fictional media of all kinds alters its audience's perceptions of reality to varying degrees. So yes, you know the difference between fiction and reality. But the thing is,
I just realized why she's so mad and pissy.
Why?
Because people aren't reading her book. People are reading
think-
books that she thinks are lesser, and it's pissing her off. So she has to
Hmm.
moralize about why actually the books you're reading make you a degenerate. You should read the books that I like, and maybe my
Actually,
book.
Krim, I think it's slightly different than that.
What?
So she said this in her fan fiction video that she got really upset when people thought that her books were BL. She got very mad. People thought her work was
Oh,
BL
girl.
when she didn't intend that.
You've got a whole fucking psychological fucking, oh god.
I know, I know,
It's so
I know.
delicious.
It's
I love
great.
I love rubbing my filthy little gay hands all over things that are meant for me and making them gayer. You can't stop
Yeah.
me. Anyway. Pressing play.
it just
Go for
isn't
it.
that simple. In terms of what we actually know and accept to be true about human beings, the human condition, and the world, how much of that is reconstructed in our minds from information that came from movies and books and TV shows? Let's put aside the obvious things, like medicine doesn't work like that, hospitals aren't run like that, that's not police procedure, guns don't work that way, and so on. What about aspects of human existence that we have learned about largely from fiction? Let's take a simple example. Lord of the Flies, a book that was required reading for most of you, and if not, was still something as a concept that you knew.
Okay,
Even
we have a
now, we
specific
simply
example
refer to
now.
people behaving like animals and every man for himself as
Do we have to really break down Lord of the Flies and what it was talking about? Do we really have to do that right now?
Krim, her audience doesn't read. They've never read Lord of the Flies. They probably spark noted the whole book if they
Lord-
even studied it in school.
Lord of the Flies is just, hey guys, rich kids suck. The military-industrial complex suck, and is affecting our children in the way that they act with each other, and that's true.
Yeah,
But-
and like I know like they've been studies with people like lost in deserted islands and don't turn into feral monsters. It's also a work of fiction.
Yeah.
It is a
It's a
hypothetical. It is a thought
metaphor.
experiment.
Again, you guys should watch this. There's so many stories about serial killers and cannibals and like people that can kill you without even touching you. I don't think that these stories are made for these people. So perhaps it's trying to tell something. Do you know what a metaphor? Do you think Hillary knows what a metaphor is? Because I'm starting to doubt it.
I think in theory she knows what it is. I think the problem is she's going to argue, and I think this is what her argument is going to be. I'm willing to bet money on it. She's going to argue, hey, people thought that this is how you behave on a deserted island, but we found kids who did this and they didn't do this.
Yep.
Therefore, book fake. That's what her argument is going to be.
That's
it's very
exactly
simplistic.
what it is. But we've been having this discussion like since Lord of the Flies fucking came out.
Yeah. The thing is, with those books, you can interpret it on multiple levels, but the point is it's allegorical. It's applicable with meaning. You're meant to read it and you transplant that society that runs itself and see. You can say, oh, hey, maybe this is meant to be real kids. Maybe it's meant to be how we treat kids, what we do to kids, how we leave them to their own devices and they hurt each other. Or maybe it's just an allegory for human society as a whole, how we erect these meaningless feudal hierarchies and rules and punishments for breaking the rules. And it's not meant to be taken literally. It's meant to be taken in a more abstract manner. But the point is, this is basic high school reading.
Yeah, we all learned about this in high school. You would have learned this too, Hillary, if you went to fucking high school, or if you went to college, you would have learned that this is the reading of the general accepted reading of the Lord of the Flies, is that, yeah, kids wouldn't do that, but it's a metaphor for World War II. Like,
it's a thought experiment. It's meant to make you think. It's meant to start a conversation like this. That's the intentionality of the text. It's not meant to be literally an equation where you go, well, actually, kids, if they were in that situation, wouldn't do the exact same thing the book says. Therefore, book fake. I beat the book now. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Anyway, so are you ready to be confirmed right?
I am ready.
The Lord of the Flies situation. That story told people that in a situation in which laws didn't exist and there was no authority, then humans would revert to animalistic behavior and start turning on each other. I'm guessing that most people in the audience right now just take that idea for granted. Lionel Trilling, a prominent literary critic who liked the book, remarked that its insane popularity among young people produced a kind of mutation of culture. But how true is it really? There are many stories about real people in real situations that were similar to that one, and they didn't start turning on each other, but actually worked together and managed to survive by helping each other. Most notably, the 1965 story of 6 teenagers who survived for 15 months after a shipwreck by working together, remaining disciplined and supporting each other. Reality is, in fact, starkly contrary to what the exciting, shocking fictional book had to say. Surprise, surprise. Yet we still hold the realities presented in Lord of the Flies as a given. How many people had their opinions about the reality of suburban housewives fundamentally altered by books and movies like The Stepford Wives? As someone who has interacted with a huge variety of
Wait, hang on. The Stepford Wives?
Did you read The Stepford Wives?
The book where the husbands replace their wives with robots?
Oh no, she's okay.
That's where the husbands kill their wives and replace them with sex robots.
She's saying that, okay, so we're coming at it from a leftist perspective. You forgetting that she's coming at it from a perspective of traditional femininity good. So she's
but the book's literally about sex robot. Like it's literally
I know
about them murdering their wives and replacing them with robots.
Yeah, but the idea is yes, but the idea, like Stepford Wives, is obviously commenting on like the nuclear family and traditional femininity and how like it's basically turned women in traditional families and traditional roles are basically robots. Like it's obviously commenting on that. And she is offended by that because she thinks traditional femininity is amazing. That's where she's coming from.
It's more about the sexism of men to like that hate when women do their own thing and don't act as like perfect slaves. Yeah, but we're touching the same point from different angles, but same idea. And like it's a second way. It's a response. It's a story, a book and a movie about the response to second wave feminism. That's what it's about. It's about, it's not meant to literally be that a whole society of men would rather have sex bots than like real women.
She's understanding that, but what she is saying is that it made traditional femininity look ridiculous. Therefore, and she thinks that's a bad thing because she upholds traditional feminine values. She's a fucking she's fucking trad wife light. Like,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
of course
it's
she's
it's
offended by
such a
Stepford Wives and like
it's such a
fucking.
weird take on it. I mean, I would think the take that people would be like, no, men don't really want to kill their wives, replace them with sex bots. I feel like that's the bigger objection to the idea of the book than anything else. But then again, of course, you hear incel culture, you see how that's. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm sorry.
Urban housewives all my life, I can say with some confidence that I have personally never met a Stepford wife. Yet I have met countless people.
That's what exactly. This is exactly
Yeah.
what she's saying. Is she's saying that it's attacking traditional femininity, and she's offended by it. I've met countless Stepford. I've never met countless traditional housewives, but I've never met a Stepford wife. However, I have met
Who assume that all housewives are Stepford wives.
Well, hang on.
she
Hillary,
is offended. She is offended by movies and shows and books that are criticizing traditional femininity.
But she has to
women
define
are-
what a Stepford wife is. I don't think she even knows what she's talking about.
Yes, but okay, Anthony, you know what she's talking about.
I mean, I do, but I also think it's stupid. And I really want to. I really want to be proven wrong.
I do too. But the thing is that she's coming at this as someone who feels her traditional feminine values are being attacked. Like, I know that her reading of the book is a little off, but we know what she's talking about. We know what she's talking about. We can give her that. We don't have to. We can steel man her a little bit because at the end of the day, her argument is ridiculous anyway. We know what she's talking about.
Yeah, we know she's saying is really stupid. Okay, gotcha. Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, sorry, I walked away from my microphone, forgetting that I am no longer using my headset as my microphone. I apologize.
It did lead to a cool effect in the sound, though. I will give you that.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. Okay.
Did anyone else see that video of the woman who went to South Korea to find herself a nice, handsome Korean husband, only to find that, shocker, Korean men are generally very normal and not all male models, and then she went home in a huff? Why in the world would anyone ever believe that the superstar actors on TV shows were representative of an entire population? What madness is that? This is the result of an ever-increasing percentage of our real-world knowledge being mediated. That woman and thousands of men and women like her think that what they are shown and what they are told is reality. Sure, she knew that the K-drama she was watching.
Hang on. So, because one woman did something really strange, thousands of women are like that. Is that her argument? Am I misinterpreting that?
Yeah, yeah. The thing is,
because one jackass was stupid, that means all the women who consume all K-dramas being influenced by the media.
Yep.
That's really stupid. Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't misrepresenting how stupid what she was saying was. Okay.
Yeah, just gonna read my last super chat. Thank you, Hopeless Nostalgic, for the $20 super chat. Of course, she loves Lovecraft because he was racist. Duh. I mean, I don't think she loves him because he was racist. I think she loves him and doesn't care that he was racist.
Well, much like Lovecraft, she also obsesses over old antiquity works over the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would also be terrified of air conditioners if they were invented in her lifetime. Like Lovecraft.
Watching her fiction. She absolutely knew the difference between fiction and reality. Or did she? Anyone thinking about it for longer than a minute would be able to tell you that, of course, TV, movies, books, and social media are not reality. So why is it that everyone behaves like it is? Just for fun, let's analyze our poor lady who didn't find a K-pop husband. She apparently watched a lot of K-dramas in which the male actors all had above-average good looks, as is common in any entertainment industry. Yet this was an area she knew nothing about. That is, she had no personal real-world knowledge of Korean men. So she was using what she was seeing in K-dramas to build her perception of Korean reality. Meanwhile, these K-dramas were otherwise very close to real life. Even now, a lot of Korean dramas come across very Western, so it was familiar.
What?
Then these K-dramas produced in her a heightened emotional state.
Hang on a second.
She's saying that it was familiar but unfamiliar. Girl, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
What do you mean? Very, very familiar. They are very similar to being Western. What? I think the thing is she just projected her wishes onto a work of fiction. That's her worldview that was pre-existing before watching K-dramas, and her projection onto an entire race of people. It's fetishization.
Yeah, there's some racism going on there. But also, I'm sorry, it is not the fucking end of the world that, like, this white girl was like, Korean men hot, unga bunga, I want a Korean husband, goes to Korea, realizes she was wrong, and is like, wow, I learned something. Like,
yeah,
not only is it not a big fucking deal that, like, a white girl thought that a Korean guy was hot and wants a Korean boyfriend because of K-dramas, she also, like, was proven otherwise and now knows better. So what's the problem?
Maybe it's because, Krim, you know what I think it is?
Mm-hmm.
We grew up on the internet back in the 2000s, so we saw firsthand the weeaboos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know everything she's saying is basic knowledge. And we saw way more extreme examples of it than what she's describing. And every single weeb grows the fuck up
I did.
because they're 14 years old. Exactly, because they're 14 and they're stupid. Because all 14-year-olds are on some level
Dude,
really dumb,
I
they grow up.
was that kid that fucking
Exactly.
worked in fucking oh, it was so cringe. I did say konnichiwa and shit for a little while. Like, I was that kid. I was so cringe.
And you know what? Then you grew up and you cringed about it. Because
Yeah.
that's how fucking life works.
That's how the brain works. You can learn things all the time. You just talked about somebody that learned something the hard way. That is part of how we learn. Oh my God.
And you know what the big thing was? In all of these cases that we're describing, from the evidence that she cited, to your personal example, to the lady who fetishized Korean men, do you know what fixed all of it? Touching grass.
It's true.
Real life countered all the cultivation theory bullshit that we discussed before.
Mm-hmm. And that's
real
what we've been
life
saying
in
the
seconds.
entire time.
Exactly. Real life in seconds did it. In seconds. Like, Jesus Christ. Sorry.
Anyway, no, you're right. You're right. I think that maybe we'll get, if we get to there is a passive versus active, and I think if we get to the start of that, like the end of this section, and then there's a little short section about propaganda, and then we could save the rest for
part two.
For
that seems reasonable, because it feels
probably
like
a more positive one.
Yeah.
Than a negative one. On top of all that, she probably watched a lot of them, so you've got repetition in there too, which we're about to get into. So all of that combined can show you how her perception of reality could be formed by fiction in this way, even if she absolutely knew the difference between fiction and reality. We can laugh and joke and make fun, but the fact is that this is how...
What time? It's 10 o'clock for you, right?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
When do you have to leave?
Probably before 11, I think. So I have like less than an hour. So I do have to make sure my son is like my spouse with my son right now, but I don't want to freaking leave her high and dry.
Yeah, we'll see how much longer we have left after we get through this.
How the human mind works, especially if we aren't guarded against it. Now, does any of that make Lord of the Flies and the Stepford Wives and all those sappy K-dramas dangerous stories that we should ban? Obviously not. Very often, it's just a story. Sometimes it's even a good story. The point I'm trying to make is that just because it's well told and it's exciting and even sometimes compelling doesn't mean it's true. And just because you, the audience, know it isn't true doesn't mean that it can't have an effect on you. People need to train themselves to remember that the human reality presented in fiction...
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're really going into this territory with this one. Okay, Krim, I have to ask you a question here. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Do you know that Stepford Wives, the book where an entire town murders their wives and replaces them with robots to clean, cook, and have sex with, is not reality? In fact, it's a story written in a book, in fact, and then directed into one decent film and a terrible remake.
Now you're going to tell me that Death Becomes Her also isn't real.
Wait, what? That's not real?
Oh my God.
But seriously, it's not real?
Oh my God. But...
You would think that she's going to bring up something like, say, like freaking Blair Witch Project. Like something that was
but she just shot her argument in the foot. Like, you get that, right? Where it's like, yeah, we just have to train ourselves to not be affected by the fiction that we consume. Yeah, Hillary. That's, oh my God.
That's basic. These are things you learn in middle school. This is middle school education here. Thank you, Miss Lane, for teaching us basic fucking critical reading skills. Like, do you think people, when they watched The Matrix, thought they... Well, actually, no, that is true. They did, in fact, think they were in a computer system. That's a good example of how stupid people can reinterpret a work, or how all the dumb people think that the red pill in The Matrix is about conservatism and not, other things that the directors have said it's about, because the directors, I think, know the story better than freaking Elon Musk does.
Is very likely just as fictional as everything else in the story. I personally think that stories that stay truer to human reality are better stories, but that's just me. I also think that people need to experience more real-world reality and stop basing all of their opinions and perceptions off what they saw on TikTok or Netflix. If more people had a stronger real-world awareness of actual
TikTok
real...
or Netflix. Hillary, do you think that
This is
TikTok and
about
Netflix are exclusively
books.
fiction? Yeah,
This is about books. What are we fucking talking about? I am getting, I hate to say it, I'm so sorry. I am getting big Lily Orchard energy.
Oh, no, this is why I find her so fascinating. It's the same fucking thing.
What? Like, this is not what you said. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Also, fiction. So Netflix and TikTok are not fiction platforms. Netflix has shows and movies. It also has a lot of documentaries on there that are not, which you can also argue are works of fiction because they mislead you with information. But that requires critical thinking skills.
Look,
Also, TikTok can show you footage that really exists, like, say, someone taking a TikTok of police brutality on the streets of New York City or Chicago or Minneapolis. You know, like that's real footage that is undoctored. You have to find it, but like between the dancing and all that, like there's real stuff on those platforms.
also, I just want to be like, hey, look at this other video that's come up.
Yep.
You know, we're not going to touch that. But again, like somebody's like, oh, but the title says it's your brain on fiction, how the content, you're just saying fiction. Yes, but the thumbnail is also part of the title. It's part of the cover.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be about what you read.
Also, I love how you scroll down just one more, you find
Crimes
New Romance freaking video, which is fantastic.
I love that other people are making her look batshit crazy in thumbnails. I'm claiming that as I started that. That's my trend.
I think you may be correct on that one. You might.
Well, I know that I've spoken to Crimes and he liked my thumbnails.
He loved your.
He mentioned that he liked the cups getting bigger. And her getting more deranged. If I recalling the conversation. Anyway, I'm gonna press play.
No, I'm pretty sure. I know Crimes is definitely. I mean, he's in the video that we did. So he's definitely aware of it. We've talked about that. We traded notes when we were making those videos.
All right, pressing play again.
But yeah.
Life, they would be less susceptible to situations where they accidentally take fictional reality for granted. We all accept that fiction is not reality, but very few of us go out of our way to remember that fiction isn't even similar to reality.
You're not special. You're not special. You are not special, Hillary. I'm sorry. You were just like every other.
Wait, Hillary, are you saying I can't do a Kamehameha wave in real life?
Well, she's saying that you don't know that you can't do a Kamehameha wave in real life because she is.
Oh no, I do know. I tried, it didn't work. It's a middle schooler. Every middle schooler did it once. You're lying if you say otherwise.
Speak for yourself.
Just for fun.
I tried to do the Spider-Man flick, you know?
That too. Or tried to crawl on walls. He tried to like do the whole like.
I did.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing.
But I was also like 12.
What was really funny was one time I did as a joke in middle school, but my shoes would just land in the footholes along the wall just right, so I actually did come up a few inches off the ground.
That's just parkour, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Basic parkour in luck.
All right, pressing play.
At the time. The simple truth is that we have been accidentally, or who knows, maybe deliberately, conditioned to accept the reality that is presented in fiction as analogous to the actual real world, when it very often is not. We have to use our own unmediated real-world knowledge to adjust our perceptions to better fit objective reality. But how can people do that when they're conditioned to reconstruct their...
I hate it when stupid people think they're smarter than everybody else. I hate it so much.
She has spent 20 minutes explaining, hey, not even books. Fiction isn't real.
Yeah, we all know that. Everybody knows that, Hillary. There might be the one. As soon as you say there's this type of guy doesn't exist, you're gonna find that type of guy. So of course there are people who make that mistake. But like Hillary is speaking like she is uniquely qualified to delineate fiction from reality, and she's not. Pretty much every grown adult, able-bodied, able-minded adult knows what you're saying. Even kids, a lot of kids know what you're saying is true. Like you're...
This is not Prometheus bringing fire to man.
Yeah, exactly. She thinks that she is saying something. She thinks she's doing something. Every fucking white girl with a little beverage on her fucking chair on these fucking videos always thinks that they're saying something. And it's like, bitch, we all fucking know that already. Sorry, I'm getting like worked up and like people are catching strays. Sorry, Sarah Z. I apologize.
Sarah Z did not deserve that.
Sorry, Sarah Z. Sorry, Lindsay Ellis. Love you. But like, you're not doing anything new. We all know this already.
Do you know the thing also with Sarah Z and Lindsay Ellis that's really profound and fascinating?
Mhm.
They establish a baseline and then build upon it, usually in the first 5 minutes of their video. This is the baseline still being built, and we're a third of the way through the video.
Yeah. So right now, the thing that she is saying that she is challenging is that fiction doesn't affect reality. And she said that she's challenging that with her statement that the content you consume changes you. Okay? Let's also, sorry to again advertise my thing. Dark fiction isn't evil. I am challenging an idea that the media that you consume can make you a bad person. That is something that I am challenging, and I challenge it with examples in my video. My video is very simple. It's very, I think it's probably my best video essay, but I'm also very early on my career, so it's my first good video essay, I think. But it's also very clear what it's challenging, and then that's the topic that it covers. Whereas she's like, yeah, how the content you consume changes you. But, if you're educated, it won't change you. What are you talking about then? What are you arguing? Nobody thinks that nobody thinks that if you educate yourself on topics that you're going to know less, or it's not useful to educate yourself on topics. Like, she's not challenging anything. She kind of hid what she was challenging. You know what I mean? If we're playing a shell game.
Exactly. Well, because she's arguing about books, and the only book, she's only really referenced 2 books, that being
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies and The Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
And I will say this right now, unlike Lord of the Flies, The Stepford Wives is less famous for the book and more famous for the film.
Movie,
Like, do you know that the book Stepford Wives and Rosemary's Baby have the same author?
I didn't.
They're both challenging.
I've never read Stepford Wives.
Oh, okay. So they're both books about the response to women and women's like individuality and their liberation, essentially. And they're both books that are deeply dark, but more famous for their film adaptations in the 60s and 70s than the books themselves. Arguably because they're both very effective, disturbing stories. But like, they were popular. Most people kind of associate the rise in horror fiction in the 70s with 3 books, though: Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and The Other. And the other not so much, but the other 2 were responding to cultural movements, and that's why they stand the test of time. The Other not so much. The Other's kind of if you've seen Goodnight Mommy, you've seen a better version of The Other. I would just put it to you that way. And I don't like Goodnight Mommy either. But the point is, like, these are works of fiction that were hugely effective because they were responding to cultural fears in the moment, cultural discourse in the moment. The fact is that Hillary does not know that basic information. She does not know that these works were responses to cultural paranoia and cultural beliefs in the moment they were written.
Okay.
Lord of the Flies was written as a cultural I'm sorry, I'm beleaguering the point. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My point is this, is that I understand what you're saying, that she's getting a bunch of facts wrong. What I'm saying is that beyond that, from a very base level, structurally, this is a bad essay. Because she is coming at this as if she's challenging a commonly held point, because she calls it the content you consume changes you. But that's not really what she's finally getting to, some form of a thesis and an argument, but it has nothing to do with the title or like the abstract that she presented at the beginning. Because her argument is that as long as you educate yourself, then content doesn't change you. But nobody is arguing. Nobody's arguing that that's not the case. Everybody knows that if you are more educated, you will be smarter and better. This is not something that people don't know already.
Well, here's something too she could have easily have done. Oh, sorry, I cut you off there.
Well,
Well, here's the thing she could have easily done to change her entire perspective that would have actually addressed the point. She could have argued how people materially were influenced by Lord of the Flies and the Stepford Wives. If she said that people made the argument that like there was a political decision made at this time that cited Lord of the Flies as an example of why we have to instill more rules on children or whatever, that's a material example of how fiction impacted reality. If she stated that women's groups cited the Stepford Wives as a rallying cry for second and third rate, even third rate feminist groups, which they did, that's an example of fiction affecting reality or how we discuss things. But she doesn't. She just says it's not real, which is the most basic bitch answer possible. You have to be able to go, okay, here is the way this work tangibly affected the beliefs of others to connect it to the core thesis of your video.
Yeah. So
but
okay,
she doesn't.
So Diamond, you say I think she's arguing that art can change you in ways you aren't aware of, even if you're conscious that you're consuming fiction. Okay, yes, but she literally just said in her last point that if you are well educated, well read, if you train yourself to think critically, then the content you consume doesn't change you. So she's blown a hole in her foot.
Yeah, and I don't think she realizes how big a hole it is. Because you can't surmount that. If your argument is it changes you, the only thing you can then prove is that people who are foolish get changed.
Yeah.
But even then, thinking critically often can help you reevaluate your beliefs.
Yeah, again,
so it's like,
is not the act of consuming content that changes you. It's not the act of reading that changes you. It's the way you think about the things you read. And that's what she's saying. But this is common knowledge. She's not pushing back against anything right now. She's just acting like she's smarter than everybody else and delivering information nobody knows, but is actually just, oh my God. Did you know that if you learn how to read and write, you'll know how to read and write? Like, it's that kind. Do you know that if you practice your multiplication tables, you'll know math better? Like, yes, Hillary, we all fucking went to grade school. We know this already. Like,
don't forget also, Krim, that in previous videos of her, she has argued that consuming fan fiction will turn you into a predator who preys on children.
Yep.
So there is just no like connective tissue between those. And she's citing, and this is a response to her criticism against those videos, like stuff we did basically.
Yep.
Oh, I did. Like,
and
there's no connective tissue.
The thing is that like if this were an academic setting, this essay would be tossed out.
Oh, in seconds. It wouldn't even,
because she's not adding anything new to the conversation. The content of the video does not have anything to do with the thesis. Like, sorry to be essay pilled. I used to write argumentative, like I can't even think of the word right now, like argumentative essays in high school and like do speeches and stuff. Like, that was a thing I really liked doing. So she is trying to do that, but like she's dressing up just her blabbing and lecturing about something everybody already knows as if it's it's not argumentative, but she's making me stupider. The vocabulary is dropping out of my head. She's dressing it up as as like a coercive essay, but it's not.
Actually, you know what? I have a clip for you that I think I'm going to send you right now. I think may actually articulate what I'm looking for here. Yeah, you got to play that.
Here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Yeah. That's my response to this.
Yeah, that's absolutely how I feel right now. What are we fucking talking about? See, you know what? Oh, hold on. What the fuck?
Come on there. That was weird.
No, that was like a autoplay. Went to a
I hate that happens. Okay, that's fine.
Music thing. Anyway.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. God, she's making me angry. I'm pressing
reality using only emotion, and when they only interact with mediated forms of reality, be it Netflix or TikTok or the latest
She's the
new
only
romance
girl
one.
with a
Now, while we're
brain,
taking in
she's not like
content, to
other
use a broad
girls.
spectrum term, doing
She's
so
not like
actively
other
versus
girls,
passively
you
is a
guys.
factor, which I'll talk about in just a second. But in any
That's
case,
'cause they're
we are on the
robots, they were
receiving
killed by
end
the
no matter what.
husbands.
When we watch the news, someone is telling us what happened. We aren't participating in the gathering of information, and we didn't ourselves witness it. When someone tells us a story, we're sitting back and letting the storyteller do the bulk of the work. We are, in a sense, at their mercy. I think it would be good to
fucking speak for yourself. My autistic ass is asking questions and being really pedantic.
They're at the mercy of the writer. At the mercy of the writer. As though you can't use your brain.
Also, do you know what? Also, you hate AO3, which is transformative works, which are literally people writing stories about interrogating the author and the story that they're telling.
But wait a second, maybe she wants the reader to be at her mercy, so they can't tell her work's a BL novel.
Oh, she wants me at her mercy? Is she gonna come on my face? Okay, I'm pressing play.
We already know that the news is full of lies. We know this. We know that social media is often, if not always, completely fabricated, or at least very misleading. We sometimes use the term fake news. We sometimes say propaganda. Let's stick with that one, propaganda. First, let's define it. Propaganda, according to the dictionary, is any systematic scheme or concerted movement for the propagation of a particular doctrine or practice. By that definition, propaganda can be understood to be
what the fuck?
Movement for the propagation of a particular doctrine or practice.
The English dictionary. Why the fuck would you get some fucking books that
were
fucking made in the last fucking century? God.
Yeah, that's the thing about all of her definitions. She deliberately seeks out works that like are a
fucking one of her sources are fucking Thomas Aquinas. So I'm just gonna press play because we're just making ourselves mad.
Yeah, exactly.
By that definition, propaganda can be understood to be neutral. It's merely the deliberate effort to propagate a particular belief or even a way of life. So you could even have propaganda that is meant to encourage people to be honest and help those in need. The point is that most media that uses storytelling, be it news or a nonfiction book or a blog post about makeup or a movie or a novel, will be trying to propagate certain ideas or beliefs or ways of life. People tend to only perceive this in a negative light if they disagree with the propaganda, or if it is objectively bad and harmful, like a story that tries to, I don't know, encourage kids to murder their parents in order to steal all their money. But whether it's news or marketing or a fiction...
Did you fucking just come for like the fucking Parent Trap or something?
Yeah.
No. That's not the Parent Trap.
No, that basically is the Parent Trap.
Okay.
No, it's not. I lied to you. It's not the Parent Trap.
No, what? Like there is a story.
It's the other.
Like that.
It's the plot of the other.
Right,
the other is about that. The novel, The Other, ends with the boy who's like believes his. Okay, The Other's about a farm family. And there's a kid there, and he's talking with his brother, who's like a mischievous little brat. And the other brother makes the other brother do increasingly like violent things around the farmhouse, up to stewing a newborn baby in like wine or something.
Jesus Christ!
And it turns out that the other brother is not real. The brother died in an accident years ago, and it's just the guilt the first brother has about the death of his brother.
Did you
creating a hallucinatory version of him in his mind?
Did you watch Johnny in the Hole? I fucking love that movie. It was so good.
Johnny in the Hole?
Johnny in the Hole.
I think I might have.
It stars that one guy that plays Dexter Morgan in Dexter.
Yeah.
And it's about this kid that is like, I'm gonna put my family in a hole and just leave them there so that I can so I can pretend to be an adult. Like, is she thinking that kids are like watching that and like, you know what? I should put my family in a hole so that I can have freedom. Like,
exactly. Also, I love how she's mentioning propaganda and not discussing World War II.
Or propaganda?
Or propaganda, exactly. But she'll mention propaganda in other cases. But like those are like great examples of propaganda in the modern day. They are very direct and relevant and tangible. But the problem is she can't actually discuss tangible propaganda in this context because that involves counterbalancing the arguments that Asmongold makes.
And somebody just said something.
Oh my God, what is it?
She's just a female version of Brian Griffin. It swears the fucking lie!
I hate that you're accurate.
No, that wasn't me. That was Setsuki17. Saying that, note that I'm an actual mild autistic and I felt her narcissistic energy like Brian Griffin trying to sail faster than the speed of love 2, more speed.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
no,
she really is fucking the female version of Brian Griffin.
This is exactly what's going on, and I hate that you're
correct.
It's
all propaganda because it's all trying to deliver a message that its writers want you to believe. Some is good, some is bad, some is neutral. Very few things are
That's
as
not what
perfectly suited to the
propaganda
dissemination.
means.
That's not what fucking propaganda
That's
means.
not what propaganda means. It's-
The government mandated part is kind of important to
Yeah,
propaganda.
that's vital.
You fucking idiot. Every fucking writer wants you to feel or think something. That's what fucking writing is for.
Do you know that Frankenstein's propaganda so you
Oh my
don't
God,
build your own man in your basement?
It's just big man trying to keep us from building our own men.
Exactly.
Press play.
Of propaganda, or if you want to use more neutral language, the deliberate formation of minds as storytelling and literature, movies and books. People, especially nowadays, are automatically guarded against news and marketing. People are far less guarded with fiction. This, in part, has to do with the difference between passive and active story consumption. We tend to be more active when reading the news, and we tend to be more passive when consuming some types of fiction. What is the difference between taking in information by reading fiction versus watching it? For our purposes today, I'm speaking more generally. That is,
Hillary
in general,
Lane
what
has
does our
never been on
general
TikTok,
fictional
I
intake
can
do to our
guarantee
character and
that,
behavior?
based
All
on
of my
this
research
comment.
has shown me that both affect the mind, full stop. There are, of course, differences, and so very briefly we're going to touch on them for the sake of thoroughness. But this is not a video about whether or not books are better than TV. Books are better than TV, generally. But whether you're reading your fiction or watching it, it is still forming your character. But TV is passive, and reading is active. There are a lot of other differences, and I put some data on my website if you're curious, but this is the one.
Yep, I thought that she was going to go here. She's right. It is, like, your brain is doing something different when you read versus when you watch or listen to something. But you know what active fucking engagement does? It helps you think critically. You are more likely to think critically about something as you're reading it over passively listening to it.
So here's a point also.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? She's only talking about reading. There's other things you can actively engage with other than prose fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what her opinion is of like comics and graphic novels.
I mean, you're also reading those.
Yeah, you're actively engaging with it. You're actively reading it.
I would say
so I'm wondering.
I would say that falls into the same.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering if she's going to discuss manga.
I wonder
because I know her audience likes that stuff.
I wonder if she would ever discuss the connection between the military and people making guns for toys and getting kids excited to play with guns. That's also a form of actively. I'm just saying, there doesn't even have to be a story. Like, okay, I'm gonna press play.
Yeah.
That's the most relevant to our topic today, passive versus active. There is a school of thought that views literary fiction as requiring more cognitive work, so readers have to look for meaning and interpretations, and they're going into the book with a more actively inquisitive approach to the story and the characters, because part of the function of literary fiction is to ask questions without providing answers. Whereas popular or commercial fiction tends to require less cognitive work, and reading these...
No, that is... No. It doesn't matter.
Without providing answers? That's not...
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Psychologically, it doesn't really matter how easy or unchallenging the book is. The same functions are happening in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's still active. It doesn't matter how dumb the book is, if you want to put it that way.
So wait, by her logic then, when you read the text for when Ibsen's Dollhouse, when the verbally abused and dismissed housewife leaves at the end of the book, leaves her husband behind, that's bad and commercial because it provides an answer to the audience as to what the proper messaging of the story is.
Also, all fucking books that she talks about are commercials. You don't.
Yeah.
Except
maybe House of Leaves.
Yeah, I have a friend who did like a whole like thing about pop art versus folk art versus art, because these all
show me
mean
that
different
whole thing.
things. Yeah, it's good, and it's the same.
It's very good.
Here.
It's excellent.
Like everything, like even if it doesn't resemble what you think of as pop fiction, all of the books that you read, Miss Hillary, are pop fiction. You're no better than anybody else because it was made to be sold to a commercial audience. Definitionally, everything that you have read and listed, except, here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. AO3 is folk fiction. It was created by an individual not looking to really, that were mostly making things for themselves and anybody that felt like listening or watching. AO3 is actually less removed from for commercial fiction than the books that she likes. Just saying.
Exactly.
Whereas,
and if you think,
the third kind, which is art, is like people that it's like art, music, art, literature are things that are commissioned by an individual for the individual enjoyment. That, it's weird.
and you know, it also is very much pop fiction.
Mm-hmm.
The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, a New York Times best-selling murder mystery novel that just happens to have deep thematic ideas that it presents very, very bluntly to the reader. It's a great book, but it's definitely commercial.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic novel.
Commercial,
but it's a
like this is all like I prefer the term pop.
It's definitely pop. It was made into a massive film with some of the biggest actors of that time, including James Bond himself, Sean Connery. This was not an art house story. It was just a really good book.
But like, this is pop. This is pop. Well, this is a Penguin classic.
Yeah, Clark Ashton Smith. Wait, hang on. Hang on. Go on again. Clark Ashton Smith. That's like Clark Ashton Smith. The second book there. That's
yeah.
I'm watching your stream of it, so I'm a little delayed on it.
Oh, okay.
That's like
that was like by Clark Ashton. Yeah, but it's still pop.
No, not just he's not just pop. He's genre fiction.
Yeah. No Longer Human by Osama Dazai. Pretty sure
he was in Weird Tales back in the day. So it's like all of that is very, very pop culture. Like that's super pop culture.
I Was a Stranger by John Hackett, also pop fiction. It's not how relevant it is, it's why it was made and how it was published that determines if it's pop, folk, or art house.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think Clark Ashton Smith is a really fascinating writer. But like still.
It doesn't the thing what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move the stigma from the concept of pop/commercial, which again isn't really a genre. So genre is the pop, art house, and folk. Those are genre. They're how they were made and the way they were made and why they were made. And then genre is like fantasy, sci-fi. They're different things.
Genre fiction versus literary fiction versus of course.
House of Leaves, also pretty sure that this was also pop fiction.
It's become certainly. I think it was original. That's an odd one because it is very postmodern in terms of its construction and style, which is funny because she hates postmodern fiction.
It was still sold as a book to be bought by people.
Exactly.
That's what makes it pop. So House of Leaves, also pop fiction or commercial fiction, whatever the fuck she wants to call it. All of these are pop fiction. I'm trying to think of like art house fiction, what that would really look like. I suppose you could maybe think of something like religious texts you could call. It's weird when you get into like.
I think it's stuff like there's a lot of books out there. The Red Tent, I think, was the one novel that was really big in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Maybe like Dante's Inferno or something like that, where it was made to glorify an individual, or like it was made for prestige rather than to put food on somebody's table. You also can have works and authors and even like pieces move from one genre to the other. Nirvana is a very, popularly grunge was mostly associated with folk music, and Nirvana started as a folk band, but then this is what selling out is. You become a commercial success, and now you're making pop music, not the genre pop music, the genre pop music. And you have that with people filing the serial numbers off of fan fiction. It started out as folk fiction and became pop fiction. I feel like these are pretty easy concepts to grasp. She's just using commercial fiction as a buzzword, but there's nothing wrong with writers writing things for a wide audience and making money off of it. It's fine.
Yeah. Exactly. If the work is powerful and speaks to the human experience, then what's the problem,
Yeah. All right, I'm pressing play.
Types of books have been described as a more
so
passive.
make sure we get as much
I
possible.
think we might be able to finish this part. We'll see.
Experience, cognitively speaking.
We'll
Thus
see.
suggesting that popular fiction, as something that the reader's mind tends to take in more passively, is more likely to go unquestioned in the reader's mind. So if the popular caper novel Beach Read just mentions in passing that diamonds are the rarest stones in the world and therefore the most expensive, a lot of readers will metabolize that information as fact without even realizing that they're doing it because they didn't sit down to read a beach novel in order to question everything. Their minds aren't in questioning
pause
mode.
for a second. I got something here. When Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code came out, a lot of people took what it said for granted. But a lot of people also were like, wait a second. All of this is bullshit. Like right down to I remember one section where they said the Louvre's pyramid has 666 glass panes on it. And then someone was like, no, actually it doesn't even have close to that many glass panes. Like not even like a third of that much. Or like it's like off by some number.
Well,
and
yeah,
then
because
everything else,
people
fell apart.
investigate these things. People ask questions about what they read. We are taught this from a very young age. You are not special, Hillary Lane.
This is like we went through this multiple times where we can demonstrably point to things and go, yeah, some people believed it,
and
but
then they
others didn't. Like, yeah, freaking like how many times people watch like a historical fiction movie and they're like, actually, like with Green Book, for example, when that movie came out, everyone's like, wait, actually, that's not even remotely what happened historically.
Yeah.
And this is disrespectful for this, that, and this reason.
I think we're doing the beleaguering the point. Let's again not pause unless she presents a new information or idea that we haven't touched on before.
The more popular fiction you read, the more information your brain ambiently takes in without you even realizing that it's doing it. To quote this 2020 research paper on the topic, readerly fiction does not abide by the show don't tell rule, it tells. On the other hand, writerly literary fiction requires a much more active role from the readers who are not told but merely shown, and as a consequence have to extract or even construct meaning for themselves. Literary texts traffic in human possibilities rather than in settled certainties. By the way, show don't
just want to say that was nothing. She didn't say
anything.
Nothing
whatsoever.
That's a nothing burger. Let's continue.
Hell, which is one of the most overused and misunderstood pieces of literary advice in the whole entire world, is all about this. It does not refer to writers showing the character walking across the room instead of saying he walked across the room, as if the latter option is somehow literarily inferior. It doesn't mean that you are required to show how pretty the lady is rather than merely saying that the lady was pretty. These are all stylistic choices and no book should be entirely one thing or the other. Show, don't tell is actually referring to things like theme. Don't tell the reader that, say, hunting a guy down for revenge might ruin your life too, but show them a situation in which that happens and let the reader wonder for himself if it was or wasn't worth it. Bonus points if it's really not clear in the text. This true type of show don't tell requires the writer to have less arrogance than is common these days. Most writers nowadays have to put all their personal opinions and views on every page of their books. The difference between literary fiction and popular fiction is not style or quality of prose, it's this. One makes you think, the other doesn't. Therefore, one is active, the other is more passive, which is why a lot of modern literary fiction...
Again, not what that I'm sorry, I have to. That's not what that psychological phenomenon is. You are always actively engaging if you are reading. You are. It doesn't. You can't read without actively engaging. That's what psychologically, the phenomenon happening in your brain.
Yeah, like it's just not like it's just not. The problem is this is not like Netflix having to restate the themes of events like 5 times because someone has like a second screen viewing thing going on.
Yeah.
You are reading a book. You are actively looking at the words. Now, you can make the argument the book is very unsubtle or very poor at communicating those ideas. That's different in a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
That is not what she's talking about, though.
Yeah. It's because you have to do an active process of seeing a symbol on a page, converting that to a sound and a meaning in your mind, and stitch the sentence together. You need to actively be doing something. It's harder. You don't necessarily have to do that when listening. You can just kind of like let the words wash over you and not really affect you. And you could still be experiencing it. But to experience a book, you have to be actively engaging with it. It's not possible otherwise. Otherwise, you're not actually reading on it. Like not passively, like passively reading a book would be if you just looked at a page and then flipped it and didn't actually read the words.
Also,
she is conflating
Krim,
a psychological phenomenon with like depths of like reading levels. Anyway, go ahead.
Krim, do you want to know the source of the quote she was talking about?
What's that?
It's science.com. Science.org, I'm sorry.
I'm not familiar with science.org.
It's pop science. This would be like saying, "Oh, I read in Scientific American this study."
BuzzFeed. Oh, God. All right, I'm gonna press play because I'm not listening to my own instructions.
that spoon-feeds readers hyper-specific political or social commentary is not literary fiction, while cheap paperbacks with no delusions of grandeur and yet which make you think deeply for a long time after reading them are much more valuable, literarily speaking. A skilled writer
Like
can
fan
couch in
fiction.
his story the theme that, say, murdering your parents to steal their money isn't really a very serious crime. That's an
She's
extreme
really
example,
harping
but
on
let's
that
go with
one
it. I once said
specific
that good
example.
writers are manipulative, which just means that a writer who is skilled with words can make you believe what he wants you to believe without you even really realizing that it came from him. This is the essence of propaganda. This isn't necessarily insidious, but
No,
merely
it's
a writer
not.
who wants to
That's
present a
not what
specific
it is,
idea,
and
but wants to do so subtly because he's a good writer. If such a writer genuinely believes that there's nothing wrong with murdering and robbing your parents, then he will weave that into his story in a very convincing way. A mind that isn't constantly on the lookout for fictional propaganda will take that in like a seed. Even if they know it isn't true, the seed has been planted. If they continue to see the idea again and again unchallenged, the seed will grow and the person could very well gradually come to have the same opinion to some extent. Now, I know what you're thinking.
What the
There's no way
fuck
you could
are you
just have your mind
talking
totally
about?
altered like that with
Source?
fiction. But if you think about it, all of this is just
Hang on.
marketing.
So
You're just
this is
selling
just
an idea instead of
she's just extrapolating cultivation theory. Like we discussed before, it's quantity of the message. One book is not going to turn you into a murderer. Also, the example is stupid because different ideas challenge you in different ways. Propaganda is effective because it's not overpowering with its messaging, or it tries to encourage ideas that are already
Well,
present in the person watching it.
also it's propaganda by like it's because it has to be government mandated or mandated by an authority to be considered propaganda. A writer just
Exactly.
trying to encourage you to have an idea by writing a book, it's not propaganda. And also
Yeah.
for propaganda to be effective, you need to remove contrary opinion or it doesn't
Exactly.
work.
And not all propaganda is all that effective. She's
Yeah.
talking about it as though inherently it will affect you. But no one watched the movie United Passions and thought FIFA was good, especially when FIFA was going through a massive lawsuit.
I'm pressing play again.
Go for it. Go for it.
product.
Running out of
Within
time on this one,
marketing
so
or
sorry.
advertising, if you want, a lot of research has been done to figure out how to change people's minds. Studies have been done
Not
on
the
whether or
same-
not to make ads funny or smart or moving. Studies have been done on how to make people not just recognize your brand, but choose it over others. What time of day they should show you the ads, how long they should be, what the color palette should be. Should the actors be male or female, tall or short? You remember that scene in the Adjustment Bureau when he gave a speech about how they did focus groups on what color his tie should be and just how scuffed his shoes should be? All of that is very, very true. No expense has been spared on this. Ad companies move a lot of neurological and cognitive science, as I'm sure you can imagine. This data gets used by social media companies, mega corporations, politicians, and yes, people like Hollywood and the big five or four publishing houses. Two of the major aspects of changing.
Okay. Actually, I can contribute something with this one. So I actually am aware of those studies because I have worked in marketing,
Mhm.
and I can assure you, those studies discuss correlation with sales, not causation. That is to say, certain colors are correlated with putting the audience in a certain mentality. They do not cause that mentality, but the audience associates certain colors with certain feelings, and that goes from there. They are
Also,
all tactics and techniques, but it is correlative, not causational. That is major.
You could sit me down in front of 1,000 ads for like big fucking pickup trucks and beer, and I'm never going to buy a big ass pickup truck or beer. I don't like beer, and I don't need
Yeah.
a truck. I'm never going to buy those. Like, you know, like, oh my god, I'm gonna crash out. I think this is a good place
Yeah.
to stop though, because we're
Yeah.
right at the edge of like we're getting close on when you have to leave, and the
Yeah,
next is the
and we're both about to
repetition.
crash out.
Yeah, I'm so furious, bitch. Like we've been listening to you for fucking over half an hour, and you've said nothing.
Nothing.
Did you
Not
know?
a single point has been made.
Did you know that
We're still at point-
advertisements and propaganda can convince you of things? Did you know that if you're smarter, that like fiction is less likely to affect you? Oh my god.
This is such a
Wow.
nothing
Nothing
video.
burger. It's an and
Like,
I was
it's
oh my
we're
god.
halfway through, and she hasn't said anything yet. Not even a remote. She hasn't even come close to a point.
Yeah, her next points are repetition and attention capture, attributional
Attribution.
complexity, fiction as negative formation, desensitization, what about form, imitation of fiction, fiction as positive formation, smarter reading can make you smarter. Conclusion. Oh
Wow.
my god.
Really scholarly. We're gonna have to finish this whole video though. We have to.
Yeah.
We are in too deep into Hillary Lane's territory.
Oh my
we
god.
have to dredge the surface of the water to find some new ground. Because this is like the ultimate levels of faux intellectual nonsense. And
Yeah.
at no point no point has she actually come close to rebuking any of the criticism made against her in her previous videos.
Yep.
Nowhere close.
Yeah. It's a nothing burger. It's
Yeah.
her dressing up common knowledge as a hold on, I need to remember what the word is. Essay that contains an argument. Because it's gonna bug me if I don't remember.
Yeah. You could say in theory this is Hillary giving a big cream cheese bagel filled with nothing, and I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
looking up thesaurus argument. I can't remember what the term is for an essay where you're making an argument. It's not argumentative essay. It's something less
Persuasive as a persuasive essay.
Yes, persuasive essay. She's dressing up common knowledge as a persuasive essay. And what are you persuading us on? Nothing. You're not your point. God.
Well, you know what she's actually doing. Like, let's be blunt. We know exactly what she's actually doing. What she's actually doing is trying to
she's telling people what they want to hear.
Yeah, she's reinforcing to her audience, primarily of extreme right-wingers, that gay media is dangerous.
Yep.
That's what she's really saying.
Yeah.
That like woke media is toxic and propaganda. That's what she's really saying. And she's conflating gay characters existing in a normal circumstance, or black people existing in a normal circumstance, or women having rights to children murdering their parents.
Women don't want to fuck you because they read too much fan fiction.
Yeah. It's not right for a woman to read. First she gets ideas, then thinking. Okay. I will use that.
No, it is, but yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to have to run away and take care of my child instead of listening to more Hillary Lane. Krim, thank you so much for inviting me on.
Yeah, I have one last super chat for the night.
Okay.
From Eustace Giwo, I think is the pronunciation. What does she mean people are less inclined to question or read things into popular fiction versus nonfiction? That is practically all she ever does.
Basically. Also, keep in mind, she only talks about movies and not, books.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for coming onto the channel, Anthony. If you want to follow Anthony, you can find a link to his channel in the description down below. I'm sure all of you are subscribed to him, but if you're not, please do that.
Also, watch my videos on Hillary Lane because they're very funny. I think they're good.
And they have great thumbnails.
They have amazing thumb art.
You put out a video. You put out a video today. What was it?
I did. It was about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man and the Forgotten Villains, I think.
Yes. And I used both thumbnails by the way, Krim, to A/B test them. It looks like the original one is the one. It's doing much better though. I hope you feel validated.
I do feel validated. Great. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. And you were streaming tomorrow, right?
What?
You're streaming tomorrow?
I don't know. It might be. I don't know. I might just rest.
He like streams and he makes videos. Yeah, no big deal. Forget about it.
I might nap instead. You know.
You deserve it.
I really do at this point. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'll take care, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. We might return to this sometime this week or on Sunday. I won't make you wait a whole week for it, hopefully. I'm also working on an edited video. I know I promised that I'd get it out like 2 weeks ago. I don't have any gameplay footage of the game that I'm talking about, so I'm gathering that. So it's like the audio's all recorded. I'm just editing it now, and I'm just running into I don't have any footage to put on in the background while I'm talking. So, but it is being worked on, and I would like it to be done by the end of this week, but it might not come out until next week. So, it is about Sheik from The Legend of Zelda, and I'm having a great time editing it. I've gotten some really good feedback about the script so far, so look forward to that. And thank you so much for watching, and thanks to my patrons, Paige, Lego, Harvey, Hummus, Mohammed, Weeskilly, Fiona, Boggle, Somnium Astra, Dylan Rune, and Zephyr, Vex Fidel, Elias Tastinian, Swampling Lover, Garden Knot, and Daily. If you would like to support me on Patreon, you can find a link in the description down below. You can also support me on Ko-Fi at a one-time donation of the amount of your choosing, and support me in the free way by liking, commenting, subscribing, and following me on social media. Everything's linked down in the doobly-doo. I'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.